Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
And we start this Tuesday with a garbage victory.
Yes!
How about that? They looked great last
Take
night.
that, cheaters. Cheaters.
I think we found the next in our long line of Cy Young Award winners. Tristan McKenzie's learning how to pitch. Welcome to the show. I'm Jay
I think he
Crawford.
learned from you, Jay. I'm going to cut you off because you
Stand
pitched.
by.
Hold on.
Stand
the
by.
former ESPN exec, super host Jay Crawford
Wait.
forgot to put his mic on.
I did that. Listen, I did that a couple weeks ago on Channel 3.
Oh, my God.
It was in my pocket.
Good Lord.
That's a true story. It was in my pocket.
That's how comfortable he is.
Wow.
Wow.
So let's talk about Jay for a minute. He pitched this weekend. How is your shoulder now?
It's better today. It was really sore yesterday.
I mean, you're pitching better than anybody on the Guardians except for McKenzie.
I went 6
Yeah.
through 85 pitches.
Are you
and
keeping track, or is somebody keeping track for you?
Someone counts for me. But I have a general idea. I do.
Right.
I when I leave every inning, I do a quick accounting and figure out how many I threw. But Tristan McKenzie, guys,
phenomenal.
he looked as good last night against a really good hitting team as I've seen him look in his career. He's starting to become a pitcher. Let's whip around and talk about what we're going to talk about on today's show. Later, at the end of the show, my final take.
Yeah.
Tonight on HBO, you're going to see one side of a story. That's because 2 of the accusers against Deshaun Watson have decided they're going to do something that's very rare. They're going to speak to the media. And I'm not saying this because I want you to listen to one side and not the other. What I'm saying is be careful of making up your mind in the court of public opinion because you're hearing one side of it. There's 2 sides to every story, and that's why these things are decided in a real court with real laws, not in the court of public opinion. So that's my final take coming up.
We're going to break down, G. Bush here again, we're going to break down the difference between Put-in-Bay and Kelly's Island. You're going to want to watch which one your boy G. Bush picks over the other.
This is a tough one, by the way.
That is exciting.
Because I love both.
Yeah. Speaking personally, I'm going to mend some things that you guys did wrong again yesterday. Seems like that's my job around here. When you guys were talking about your toughest Clevelanders, you guys forgot somebody who was toughest Cleveland athletes. You guys forgot somebody that it kind of insulted me personally, that you even forgot them, and I'll share that with you later on who you guys forgot.
And we got the weight loss challenge this week, and somebody dominated! Domination!
If Bull looks a lot
Upstart just
thinner,
like Rocky.
He's barely even here.
if Bull looks a lot thinner this week than he did last week, there's a reason. There's a reason.
One quick thing before we get started, too. I had a great experience yesterday that I needed to share with you involving Jay Crawford. I was at a thrift store. I'm a bit of a thrift store shopper.
Okay.
You took me once.
Yes, I did, and I like the thrifts. And so I'm on the phone talking to somebody from work, and you've probably been recognized before. So a gentleman, an older gentleman who is thrift store shopping. I'm literally talking, and I can tell he wants to talk, and he's just like, he goes, hey, and I'm just like, hey, and he's like, hey, and I'm just like, okay, and I hold the phone down, and he just goes, so tell me the truth, Jay Crawford. He's short, isn't he? And I was
That's
like,
what he needed to
I was
know.
like, what? And he goes, he's short. He's a little guy. Am I right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hi, nice to meet you. And he just goes, I seen him on TV. I'm like, he's short. He goes, I seen him next to Betsy Kling. Now she's a tall person. I go, yeah, she's like a statuesque woman.
She's a
so by
6-footer.
comparison, I go, Jay's he's like in between our size, me and you. And he just goes, he's taller than me. No.
The clown that forgot his mic?
And then he walked away, and that was my whole experience.
That's bizarre.
Yeah,
Mike.
you're touching lives out there.
Well,
He really wanted to be taller than you.
One way.
And I would not give him that. I wouldn't give it to him.
Whoever
Like, no,
you are,
he's
I'm
taller.
sorry to bust your dream.
Yeah. So
I'm
anyway.
6 foot. I mean, that's a little taller, I think, than the average. I don't even know what the average guy is.
I think the average is 5'9".
No,
Yeah, well, then
You're
I'm the
above
tall
average
side.
height.
That was.
I'll tell you what, the messed up part about this is the only part about talking to old people, sometimes old people kind of be in another generation. They grow up in the 1920s. So, often.
Damn, he wasn't 100.
1920s.
He was the tallest man in America
Back
probably
then.
when he was a young man. And he was like 5'11". They're just like, I'm the tallest man in the world. Because we're all taller now.
and they call us different things. So I go up and I'm just handing stuff off the top. You're tall. Can you get that off the top?
Oh, yeah.
And I get it, give it to this nice old lady, and she says, "Thank you." I said, "You're welcome." She said, "You know what? You're a really handsome colored man."
Oh,
I was like, "What?"
God.
They said, I couldn't even say nothing to her. I was like, "Well,
See, yeah.
Thanks, I think.
thanks." I just said, "Hey, you're welcome," and walked on out.
When was this?
This was like
Recently?
3 weeks ago.
You just met my
God.
you just met my grandma just a few weeks ago.
And my wife is from the Philippines. She was like, "That was a nice old lady right there."
Yep.
She didn't realize.
We're just always we're batting down my grandparents all the time, just when
It's
they
that
do terms
generation
like
that doesn't know that they're being
Racist?
offensive.
Wow.
No,
No,
racist.
How do
Yeah,
you
they
not
have no
know
idea.
that? By the way, like
Different times.
I feel shorter in Cleveland. I don't know if it's just a Midwest. I don't know if people are taller in the Midwest, or I just think that's the
I
case.
don't know. Are they?
But,
Rangy.
like, I don't know. All my friends growing up were most of my friends growing up were either Jewish or Italian. Most of them
Yeah.
when I was a little kid. And I think generally Jewish people and Italian people tend to be a little shorter
you're
than
right.
others.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I just my own thing.
Might be
And so I didn't feel like most of my friends were. I was shorter than a lot of my friends, but not significantly.
You feel
here.
very
I feel
short
much
here.
shorter here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, you're
about
always
that.
around like people who
True,
are
I'm
involved
around a lot of
in sports and
athletes now.
and stuff, so
They're
that's
all
gonna
tall.
happen. Yeah,
It's
you
always nice every once in a while when I meet a short athlete.
You're sitting next to Brad Sellers, and you're like, why do I feel so?
Yeah,
I feel so small all the time.
And then when Brad leaves, Mike
then I
Bolt
come
comes in,
in.
who's 6'3" or 4.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
But the funny thing is, sitting down, it doesn't look like as much of a difference. Because I said to my wife
Chairs
the
are
other
the
day
great
great
equalizer.
that
equalizer.
Garrett was like 6'4", and she's like, he doesn't seem 6'4". I'm like, what? Maybe you see him next to Brad Sellers, so yeah. Or
No,
whatever.
chairs are the great equalizer.
Surprised me
Yeah.
too.
All right, let's start today's show, shall we? I mentioned that at the end, my final take is going to be on. It's just a warning about making up your mind one way or another. I believe Watson did it. I believe he didn't do it. Just be careful of doing that until you have all the evidence. And right now, we haven't seen all the evidence. So
Right.
the court of public opinion can be a very dangerous place. We're talking about this today because tonight on HBO Real Sports, 2 of the 22 women who have accused Deshaun Watson of sexual aggressiveness.
And people got to stop saying rape.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
not-
Rape is
Yeah.
really disturbing. Nobody is accusing him of
Right,
raping
right.
anybody. But we've heard that thrown around. But 2 of these accusers and the lawyer are going to sit down with Soledad O'Brien. She's a longtime reporter in the industry, and they're going to give the first television interview. You'll see it tonight at 10 on HBO. I have to say, I'm a little surprised. When I first heard this, I'm like, wow. You typically won't hear either side of a case like this speak publicly before a trial. It almost, when I first heard this, I'm like, do they think there's not going to be a trial? And because it feels like there's a race to try this in the court of public opinion. Rusty Hardin, who is a famous lawyer of former athletes, he represented Roger Clemens in the past and some other noteworthy clients. He is representing Deshaun Watson in this case, and I feel like they've tried to try some of this in the media. They wafted out a document that's tried to discredit many, but not all of the accusers.
Yeah.
And
he was interviewed yesterday, Rusty.
I know, and I'm
Hardin.
just really surprised. It makes me wonder, do they think that this thing will never see the light of day in a courtroom, and that's why they're doing this? Because lawyers, there's a reason you tell your clients not to do interviews. The more you tell a story, the more, and I'm not saying that they're not telling the truth, but the more you tell any story, the more likely you are to have any kind of inconsistency. And in a courtroom, an inconsistency leads to a lack of credibility. And I'm really surprised that they've opened themselves up to this. What say you guys?
Well, I think this has been the blueprint. This is the game plan right here. When I heard that they were going to move from 2022 to 2023,
right,
and do the cases then, I said, oh, well, this is the strategy. We'll slow play this, drip our information, do some TV stuff, drip a little more. Maybe we got some more people on the horizon. Then football season happens. The goal is Deshaun Watson has to now start playing football. There's pressures that come along with football. Don't get off to a 2-4 start. And people saying, what's going wrong with you? And now all of a sudden, hey, we might got 3 or 4 more people that we're vetting to bring along.
G. Bush, doesn't a guaranteed $240 million contract take any of those pressures away?
Well, no, I don't think so.
I mean, he's not playing for money. He's not worried about his contract being voided.
But you got to think about it. This is the first time he obviously wants to play, right? He hasn't played in a whole year. He's with a new team. He's in a city where there's half the city is saying, listen, we don't want you here. He wants to get off to a good start. He wants to be playing football games to get this kind of in the back burner in fans' mind.
Change the narrative.
Change the narrative. But the goal for the plaintiff is to say, well, no, we're going to put pressure. We're not going to stop in the public. We're going to turn that up a little bit. Hey, you got to go to film rooms. You got to deal with YouTube. You got to deal with Twitter. And you might deal with angry fans. Plus, we're going to still say, well, you never know. We got 5 more people that got something.
They're trying to push him into a settlement, I think,
Yep.
obviously.
I agree with you.
And they're pressuring it in a way that is pretty smart, really, when you think about it, because so far these women, they're just numbers to us. They're trying to put a face on them for us to actually look at. They're trying to put a face for female Browns fans, for male Browns fans who care about this sort of thing, to see these people telling their stories. I'm not saying whether they're legitimate. I'm not saying whether or not they'll be believable. But this lawyer, Rusty Hardin, great lawyer name, obviously thinks that they are going to be somebody who can push the public opinion in their favor. And I think that that's what's going to happen. And I think this is how it starts. And whether people pay attention to it or not, I don't know. But things are going to change. And you can tell that they're nervous about this because he's going on this media junket now. Rusty is. Sure. I saw I think he's on your station later on. Your station currently. Sorry, 92.3 later on. So he's going around and covering his ass
making
right
the
now
rounds.
And saying like, hey, just so you know, getting out in front of stuff because they're scared of these women going on.
By the way, it's not an accident timing-wise that somewhere in the lead into this story, Bryant Gumbel is likely to say, today on a practice field in Berea, Ohio, Deshaun Watson is beginning OTAs.
Yep.
No doubt.
So the
that's
timing
definitely
of
the lead.
this, I mean,
What?
it's very, very strategy-driven, and it's very tactical.
Guys, I got a lot to say about this. Obviously, like many things in life, this is a very complicated subject with a lot of parts, and as usual, people go to extremes on both sides of this. They've either decided he's innocent and being railroaded, or they've decided he's guilty and there's no way to see it any other way. The reality is, unless you're Deshaun Watson or these women, you don't know the truth. We're all speculating. There's part of me from the beginning that was like, well, it's 22 accusations. How could it not be true? There's also another part of me that says, he's a black man in Texas where the people are angry at him, and he didn't get indicted when it's not hard to indict someone. So that makes me think maybe he's innocent.
Right.
So I've got these two conflicting things. The legal stuff so far makes it seem like he's innocent. The number 22 makes it seem like he's at least somewhat guilty, and I don't know where the truth is. The reality is, and I don't want to go too far down the weeds in this because this can get complicated and people are going to misunderstand what I'm saying. The reality could actually be somewhere in between.
He could have done things that are offensive,
Yes.
but in his mind didn't cross a line.
Potentially, but we don't know, right? Now, it's also silly for us to all say, well, don't judge him, because that's just what we all do, right? Fair or not, we're not deciding whether he's got to pay or whether he, obviously he's not going to go to jail at this point. But
No, but it is a man's reputation.
it is, but the reality of it, when people judge on Twitter or if we make an opinion on it, I think if you say, hey, I don't know what the truth is, but hey, it's hard for me to believe this or that, people are going to make judgments. We've done it about other people in the past. We're going to do it here. The reality for me, though, in the end is, even if he did do something wrong here,
right?
Okay, if the league allows him to play, then I ultimately don't have a problem with him being on the Browns. Now, I've changed my tune on this. I used to be someone who was like, if a guy's done anything wrong, I don't want him on the team, I don't care. I always took a really strong stance on that. Even as a Bengal fan, when they first drafted Joe Mixon, I was angry. I didn't like it. I didn't want him on the team. I've changed my mind on that because there's a lot of people in a lot of walks of life who do bad things. If they don't go to jail, who am I to say they can't work? Okay, ultimately the league's going to decide what the fair punishment here is for this whole situation.
Yeah.
And in the end, I don't think it's half the people that don't want Watson.
When you said that, we don't know. Nobody knows.
Right.
If you're involved in a show like yours where you're sort of taking the pulse of the community,
it's not an accurate
it's a guess. And let's face it, the people that are moved strongly one way or another are going to speak out on this. I think the vast majority of people are in the intelligent camp. What you just said, there's one answer to do you think Deshaun Watson did something offensive to these women? There's one right I for everybody not named Deshaun Watson or the 22 women. I don't know. I don't know.
I will say this. The public is a little more less aggressive than the media. From my perspective, when you take a look at this case in the media, the first thing you come out with is 22. You say it's 22. I don't know how I don't believe 22 people.
Yeah.
And for me as adults, I'm like, well, you can take it case by case. You can be 60 people. You have to take it case by case.
I agree, G, but I'm just saying, I'm sharing my reality. And my reality is there's half of me that's like, he had to have done something, and there's half of me that says, I don't think he did
and
anything.
that's why
I'm
we
really
have to
torn.
wait.
That's why we ultimately
that's
should
why
wait.
the court of public
we should
opinion
wait.
through the media is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Mikey McNuggets, if we can, throw up the Rusty Harden quote. Because, while we're talking about he's trying it in the media and some of the accusers and their lawyer are now trying it in the media, Rusty says, I've always assumed all the publicity and everything. It's going to be really hard for the NFL to have the courage to do what I think should be done, which is no finding. That all remains to be seen this summer. So he's advocating for...
And he's covering. He knows what's coming.
He's hedging his bet.
And he also looks like a great Texas lawyer. Did that guy not?
He's got the Trump's haircut.
That was
guy.
such a hairpiece.
I'm not sure that's his hair.
No, that's
I don't
not.
think he gets his hair cut.
I
I think that's a snap-on. But the thing is, he makes an interesting point. And if you're defending Deshaun Watson, the thing that you want to scream from the mountaintops is let's have our day in court, in real court, not court of public opinion, not court on TV through the media. So
let's have our day in court in 2024.
We're all going to watch this tonight. We're going to look for two things, I think. We're going to look for the credibility of the accusers, and we're also going to look to, is HBO doing a fair job in this report? Because you have to understand, they're going to tell us one side of the story. They asked to talk to Harden and Watson, and they declined.
Right.
That's their right to say
and
no.
that would have been idiotic if he would have said yes. You don't go on, you don't go during civil litigation. You don't go on HBO.
Well, to my point, I don't think you do if you're the accusers either.
They have less to lose, though. They gain from this. He loses by talking in this.
But they could open themselves up to a hostile cross-examination.
Right.
If they change their stories and anything that they say tonight.
You saw that haircut. Do you think he doesn't have those women prepared? Do you think that Rusty doesn't have those women?
Deshaun
Watson. Who's the other guy? It's got an even better name.
I'm not sure.
Bingo.
Tony Busby.
Tony Busby's
got his... so shady,
Tony Busby's got his ladies ready for testimony, I'll bet you.
I think he does. Yeah. And I do believe that they're going to be prepared. Look.
Yeah. And they picked they probably picked the two classiest ones, too.
There was vetting done.
There was vetting. See, here's the thing. We've heard 22, right? If you go right back and look at the documents and you just take a look and see what Deshaun Watson's lawyer says, there's about 8 to 14 of them he names where there is issues with them. There is issues where they've told people, hey, we're in this for money. Hey, now that don't mean 22. The reality is all it takes is one.
Well, to your point,
all it takes is one to get your life screwed up, right?
We were talking before the show. If you go back to the document that Rusty released last April, where he the whole purpose of that document was to discredit the accusers. And he does mention over a dozen of these women.
Yes.
To me, what that says, by what's not in that document, why didn't we hear from all 22? I don't need 22 women to be telling the truth. I just need one.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
I think one of the sad parts about this is however this ends up resolving, it's awful because if Deshaun Watson is guilty, well, that's awful, obviously, right? If he's innocent, it's also awful because his name was run through the mud, and now when other women come out with real accusations,
absolutely,
there's going to be more of this because I have always tended to, when somebody is accused of this, my first reaction has always been I'm going to believe the woman because most people don't lie about this. And that's not always the case. But if this turned out to be one big hoax and lie, it's going to be bad for women really in these situations.
I was just going to say, that was enough to remember Duke lacrosse.
I used to always believe
right.
I did. I just said,
that's always going to be, I know what you're talking about, but that is always going to be the one touchstone that people have to go to.
There are others.
Give me 10 of those compared to the thousands and thousands and thousands of legitimate ones.
Well, here's the problem, though, with the Duke lacrosse case. They were so adamant that these boys had committed this crime that the district attorney actually broke laws because he was down the rabbit hole so far he knew that he'd already picked a side, which you're never supposed to do. And I think the message here is when you jump on a side and you put your flag in that side of an argument, when you don't have all the information, you're making a grave mistake.
So why
we have to take each one of these individually, and in this case, all 22 of these have to be litigated individually before we can say definitively. Now, if all 22 are dismissed before they go to trial or all 22 lose, I think that backs up what the 2 grand juries have already told us.
Yeah.
The grand juries have seen more evidence than anybody so far.
That's true.
And
They're the ones that have seen it all, and they say it doesn't rise to a standard of bringing charges, not convicting, to bringing
my question
charges.
is how could any sane, rational person say, I'm going to preemptively suspend you? That means you are doing something to look like you care.
Because he could have done something that violated league policy without violating the law.
Well, hold on. Well, I go to it. I always say it. And if I'm him, I'm going right back and say, well, listen, Robert Kraft was caught on tape.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
But we can't say we get it and push it to the side.
No.
You can't. The people like me say, stop with all the moral clauses. The shield, we got to protect it. No, when one of your own was caught on tape,
You're right.
Yes, they don't care.
I know they don't.
You telling me to care now?
But G. Bush's point is
No, they don't care.
No, they're hypocrites.
the league.
That's what we're saying. So we're telling
And
you.
I think we can all agree upon that.
Yeah, of course they're hypocrites.
The league said
We all
when
agree they're
Robert
hypocrites.
Kraft was caught on tape in a massage parlor, breaking a law, and,
Partying.
and tarnishing the shield. There's no question
And
that was
only
bad
the
for the
women
league.
got penalized.
And they
legally,
had to
but-
pay fines.
Yeah.
So
And tarnishing massage table.
now, everywhere.
Yeah.
So we know what happened in the court of public opinion. We all heard it. We saw there was videotape. We're like, wow, this dude did it. The league set a horrible precedent when it washed its hands of it and didn't punish one of the hierarchy. That's rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And now that's why the irony of this is, even though there's 22 women, the irony of this is it's very similar to what Robert Kraft was doing and paying for.
Just to be clear, G, we're not saying it's fair. We're just saying it's going to happen. I mean, that's the thing.
reality.
I totally agree.
But
It's nonsense.
But see, that's the problem people have in this country. This country is built on a bunch of inconsistencies. We know it's unfair. How many groups of people we got to keep telling that to? We know it's unfair, but it's just going to happen.
and that's not a good enough answer.
No,
it's
that-
not.
how
It's
is
not,
that?
but we don't have another one. It's the truth. I'll go protest
So
with you outside Roger Goodell's if you want.
Well, no, I'm just saying. How's about just say, well, listen, you know what? We're going to have to wait for the civil cases. If you're upset that we don't suspend them this year, you're just going to have to get over it.
That's fine.
You know what?
But I just doubt they'll do it.
In the Robert Kraft case, I don't think there was any question of his guilt or innocence.
None.
It was caught on tape.
You know what's
that's
really
true.
complicating things? I
In
really
this
think
one,
is
there's questions.
It's that he and to his credit, he won't settle. You know, like even Ben Roethlisberger, like when he was already talking in negotiations for settlement, that makes it easier for the NFL to say, well, he's taking some responsibility.
Absolutely.
They have what are they going to say right now?
And I think
he's taking
that's
no
a smart
responsibility. He's innocent
strategy.
until proven guilty. They can't, like with him, they could say, well, let's get this over with and get past it. They can't get past it because he won't. And I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying that's the problem.
And that's to why this is happening now. It's the defense lawyer Busby putting pressure on Deshaun Watson to just write the checks and get this over with. He's working for his clients. He wants paydays for his clients.
Let's get a picture of Tony Busby.
Is it possible that Deshaun Watson, because he knows there's going to be a suspension, actually wants it to happen now so he can move on from it?
That's a good question, but if you know in your heart that you
you're
did
innocent.
nothing wrong, why would you settle? Why would you?
What did Ezekiel Elliott ultimately didn't do anything wrong, and he still got suspended?
Well, I don't know that the ins and outs of the Ezekiel Elliott thing. There was a lot of smoke around that too. Nobody will convince me that nothing happened.
There's inconsistency across the board.
Yeah.
Trying to compare these things is
Here's the bottom line to G's. This will be a thesis statement of someone. NFL team owner caught on video in massage parlor. No suspension.
Yeah.
Black NFL quarterback accused by 22 women of sexual improprieties in massage, suspended, whatever.
Right.
That will be the ultimate reality for a lot of people in our country. Rightly or wrongly, those are facts.
It sucks.
And that's not it's not a good look.
In every walk of life, the billionaires get away with everything for the most part.
Doesn't
and the
mean they
rank
should
and file
continue
don't.
to.
No. So where do we sign up to change that? All we can do is
great
analyze
All
it.
we do.
Look, we ask questions. I don't have the answer.
Hey,
I can't change
you
it.
don't have the answer. We don't have the answer.
Right.
Yeah, but
And by
that's
the way-
not a good enough answer.
But by the way, and I can always say this too. Deshaun Watson could be totally. If somebody come out, there's 2 or 3 people that is listed here. There could be 2 or 3 people that come out and they got concrete, air-clad.
Yeah, but I would think at this point, if you had concrete, you would have already come forward.
Here's my sexist statement.
hope.
Here's my sexist statement for the day. The one reason that I don't think that this is like totally made up or anything like that. I love the conspiracy theories and stuff. Have you ever been around 3 women while they're trying to order a pizza? You can't get them on the same page.
Yeah, right.
Are you telling me you can get 24 women, because there's 22 and plus the other 2, to all be quiet, agree, say this all happened to us?
It's troubling.
It's really
It's
troubling.
a bad number.
So that's bad.
Mikey McNuggets,
show Tony Busby real fast. I just want to make sure
do
this
we have a
lawyer looks
picture
as
of Tony
amazing.
Busby?
Yeah, hold on. Give us
We
one
need a
sec.
split screen of these guys.
Yeah,
Just say,
I'm sure-
which one is a former quarterback and which one is an auto mechanic?
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, he's slick. He's got the pocket
so
square.
much slicker.
See, but I would need the ghost of Johnny Cochran to come back for this one.
Look at
that. I need Johnny as my defense
That
lawyer.
guy looks like he's the lawyer for like the Russian mob.
Yes.
Yeah, he's put together, man.
But you
He's
know what?
slick.
Rusty Harden, he's more like, he takes you off your guard. He comes in, he looks goofy, sloppy, probably on
Right.
purpose. It's smart. It's that
Yeah.
Columbo move.
Yeah,
You
and
know
then
what I mean?
and then he opens his mouth and starts his defense, and people are like,
Y'all,
wow.
I ain't no fancy big-time
Yeah.
city lawyer, but
Right.
where I come from, we believe in something called truth.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Although
he's
I don't
going to
think
do.
he did Roger Clemens any favor. Clemens came off like an idiot in those
Well,
trials.
Clemens was an idiot.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so like at least in Deshaun's, what we see in the public eye of Deshaun and the athletes that I've spoken with and the media members that covered him regularly in Houston, they all tell me the same thing. This is a stand-up dude. Like this caught a lot of folks off guard because
Yes,
they're like, this
there was
just is
nothing
not
bad about
this
him
is-
at all.
Where Roger Clemens was slimy from jump,
No doubt.
and not a lot of
Yeah.
people liked Roger Clemens before the allegations of HGH and all of that. Mikey, what's the internet saying about this?
All right, so last night we asked the internet, Steve, let's pull it up. What do you expect to learn from tonight's HBO special? And we got 3 answers. I'm going to read all 3, then I'd like you guys to react. So let's cut to 17, Steve. This one first comes from Joey C. Go Browns. I don't have any streaming services, so I won't be able to watch, but I wish I could.
That's
My
our
own
demo.
opinion about the accusations, where there's smoke, there's fire, but I love to see the interview, though. That is the first one.
All right.
The second response we got, this from Brian Fairley Jr. Either some very uncomfortable truths or some incredibly salacious lies.
Covering his bases.
Yeah, well,
Brian
that's the wide range right there.
Thanks, Brian.
Way to go out on a limb.
From Greenbrier Buckeye, a lot of big words from Bryant and not much more. So we covered all our bases here. Literally nothing left uncovered by those.
I
two
can't
responses.
imagine anything on the show is going to change, is going to sway opinion
I don't
significantly
think it
if you've
will.
been following the story.
If you watch it and you think he did it,
Yeah.
it's going to reinforce your notion
Right.
that he did it.
Right.
If you watch this and you're highly skeptical that this happened,
Yeah.
you're probably going to come away saying the same thing. But again, we have to remember, you would never send a jury to the deliberation room after the defense or after just the prosecution.
Right.
You sit there and you listen to both sides, all of the evidence fairly displayed, so we can all look at it together and make an educated decision.
Can I
Anybody
say
that
this?
makes their decision after watching this tonight has to remember, now you've heard 2 of the 25 people involved in this drama's story.
And if I'm the lawyer, I'll say this: if I'm the plaintiff's lawyer, he's on a clock, right? Tick, tick, tick. Because as soon as Deshaun Watson, if he's not suspended this year, touches that field, the narrative's gone. Because now he can play the narrative through whether or not Deshaun Watson is good and the Browns winning. If the Browns are winning and Deshaun Watson is throwing touchdown passes, it's just going to be that much more difficult.
Are you saying there's no fear that he would get suspended week 2, 3, or 4?
No, I think to me,
Because once he starts, I don't.
once he starts the season and starts playing actual games, it's going to be a problem
You're
for
saying
them.
the story's going to go
The
away?
story goes completely away.
Unless Sue Robinson, who is the former judge,
Yeah.
who both the Players Association and the Commissioner's Office decided would be the ultimate juror in this case. She decides all of these kinds of cases. If she decides in week 3, oh wow, now I have enough, and I'm going to suspend him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I
That's
think-
a possibility.
I just think in the end we got to remember, fair or not, and it's not fair, but the league, in my opinion, only cares about PR. They don't care about finding the truth. They don't care about, because, and ultimately, most fans that say, I'm not going to watch the Browns because of Deshaun Watson, they're full of baloney. There's like 0.001% that will actually stop watching the Browns because of Deshaun Watson.
They already did that math, and that's why they signed him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the bet that they've made.
They knew you take the hit and then it goes away.
Yeah, and it could be a hit. All right, let's talk now about Baker Mayfield. OTA start today.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield, according to reports, will not be there. And we've discussed this leading up to this.
Wow.
Is
I've
seen
smart
that coming.
move. I know.
I couldn't. Wow, man.
I
He's
don't
not going to be there.
understand this world anymore.
What is your takeaway, Bull?
Yeah.
He's not going to be there.
Of course he's not going to be there. He has no interest in being there. If he had any interest in potentially filling in, I don't know why I did air quotes, 'cause it was not necessary there. But if he had any interest in potentially filling in if Deshaun Watson got suspended, then he'd be there.
Yeah.
But once again, and again, I don't blame him for not being there. But if there was this new maturity from Baker, then maybe he would have showed up. He's embarrassed, he's humiliated, and he's angry. And so he's never going to show up to Browns camp. And once again, he is never going to play for the Browns. I don't care what
do you
happens.
think, Mike?
I don't think it's necessarily about him being immature. I think it's mature that he didn't show up. I think just because it would have been silly. It would have been him just being like the turd in the punch bowl if he would have showed up at this. Like, how do you deal with that? You just be like, I don't know, go play with the quarterback.
But if we go with Jay's theory, which I disagree with, but
Right.
if we go with Jay's theory that the Browns might want to use him if Deshaun gets suspended, then wouldn't they be okay with him being there?
They would, but even if that's the case, it would seem like just sort of a petty thing for him to show up right now, given the politics of the situation.
Particularly because it's voluntary.
Yes,
I'll make
exactly.
my point on that in a
Like,
second.
who
but
were
G.
the
Bush,
other
what do you
veterans?
got?
How many veterans were at it?
I wasn't surprised he wasn't going to be there. The only way that would happen, that he's even remotely back in the building, would be to go talk to Andrew Berry. See, what we forget about is Kevin Stefanski, it feels a certain type of way about Baker Mayfield. You got to remember at the end of the season, Baker was saying things got to change. I don't know
threw him
about
under
this
the bus.
office. And Stefanski had to take that. He took shots. And guess what? Since that happened, Stefanski is the next up on that hot seat. He is there. It ain't Andrew Berry.
Yep.
It's him. He now has to perform and kick. This would have never been a thing if it was like, hey, Baker didn't say those comments. Now I got to perform with either Deshaun Watson or this other guy or Jacoby Brissett. And now that's on him. Stefanski is hot about it. And Barry, he's not going to bring him in there and give him an opportunity to control the narrative. That's the last thing you want.
The one thing I'll say on this is because it's a voluntary workout, he's not missing any money.
Nope.
And so I don't want to put too much into that. I think you're right. I think not showing up was the mature thing to do in this situation because he doesn't have to be there.
Right.
But it's a different narrative when it's about money. When he starts, and see, that's where I can't wait to see what the Browns are ultimately going to do. When training camp starts, typically when a player isn't there, they're fined every day. Are they going to fine him for not showing up when they don't want him to be there? So here's my bottom line before we bring in Aditi, because she's on now with us. I'm going to call on the Browns to do something today. Just release Baker Mayfield and get rid of this elephant in the room. Get rid of it. Let him go. You're going to pay his salary anyhow. Everybody that might be interested in trading for him knows what's going to happen. They've seen this 1,000 times in the league. You don't want this guy. He doesn't want to be there. Just move on. Get rid of this drama. It's unnecessary because at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. They're going to pay his $18 million salary to play for somebody else.
Right.
So just move on from this unnecessary drama and be done with it.
That's a change for you, though. You didn't want them to do that.
No, I never said what I wanted them to do.
Okay.
All I said was there still exists a possibility that he does play for the Browns.
Yeah.
And I still say that. A very small. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't want that to happen. But I understand the finances of it, and there is that possibility.
Yeah.
I think McNuggets has something.
But I would just tell them, release him today, let him go wherever he wants to go, and stop being petulant. These other teams know what you're going to do.
You heard him. He's telling you. What's up?
It's not that hard.
Two things, guys. Aditi's on, so we're going to get right to
Oh,
Aditi.
good.
And she has to be done by 11:50. So we got 15 minutes with her at 11:48.
let's cherish
You'll see the
it.
countdown clock sound that means you have a 2-minute warning. You hear the doomsday clock come, that means Aditi has to be out 11:50.
She's got a dentist appointment for a little one,
Her kid's
right?
got a dentist appointment, so let's get to Aditi.
Okay,
That's all you, Aditi.
Aditi, welcome to the program. Good to see you again.
Jay, you know my schedule.
Hey.
You know my schedule better than I do.
We will not make you late, I promise.
I thought you were going.
It's their teeth.
I thought you were
Thank
going
you.
to have lunch with Tony Grossi.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, let's start there. Bull, start there. Bull, I so appreciate you having my back. I appreciate you looking out for me. It's been a long time since someone stood up for me that way. But let me also say that Tony Grossi and I have had a tremendous relationship for 10 years, and he did actually call me, and we spoke on the phone yesterday, and I think that what he wrote was inadvertently, what he wrote on Twitter was inadvertently harsh, and that was not his perception.
So he apologized.
That's not his intention.
So he apologized.
And so I will take him at his word when he said it was not his intention. He apologized.
Okay,
if it caused me any embarrassment. And we did have a lovely conversation about being the parent of children and the balance that requires, and why sometimes we have to make decisions that are best for our family, and the outside world may not see them
very good.
the same way.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that he made the phone call.
Yes, good
because
for him
it
for
did
doing
come
that.
off as unusually aggressive and harsh.
Right.
And I'm glad that we got that out of the way. So Aditi, I just told the Browns, just not that they're going to listen to me, but why don't they do the obvious and just release him? It's coming to that at some point. Why let this drama fester?
Okay, but is it coming to that? Are you sure there won't be a quarterback needy team that suddenly is indeed desperate for a quarterback that has demonstrated success in the National Football League?
Yeah, but
are
Aditi,
you sure that Seattle isn't going to sit there and say, maybe we don't want to move forward with Drew Lock?
But isn't that not going to happen until we get to training camp where guys could start getting injured? Like, we know what the landscape is for all these other teams.
So what's the big deal? Now, look.
It's an unnecessary drama.
I don't know that it is really. Is it? We're all talking about it. Is the team talking about it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Agreed.
You know what? I think that the Browns are moving forward. I think that the Browns are so buttoned up in how they answer questions. Kevin Stefanski specifically, if they're asked, then I bet Kevin Stefanski will say, I want to talk about the players who are here. And the players, I bet they'll say, you know what? This is how these other quarterbacks look today. I think that this is all. What I think is interesting, Jay, is that you just said you thought it was the mature move of Baker to stay away. Now, we know that Baker all along. Well, we know that he all along planned on rehabbing away, home in Texas, and not in Cleveland. Yeah. But I would argue that the mature move for whether it's mandatory minicamp or training camp is showing up and getting to work. And saying, hey, I can get to work, and I don't care if I get the fourth string reps. I don't care if I get 3 reps. I'm showing up, ready to work. I am not drama. I am not a sideshow.
Yeah, but I feel like then he's a distraction. But if he's not there, he's not a distraction.
What I would say, guys,
for your own point.
What I would say, and the three of you all agreed that it's the mature move staying home. I agree with Aditi that it would be, because if he came in and said, you know what, I want to do a press conference the first day. I'm not here to be a distraction. I understand that Deshaun Watson's probably going to be the quarterback here. I want to get my work in. I want to be prepared for if I have to play for, even if it's not going to happen. If I have to play as a backup for a few weeks, I'll battle for that job. If I'm going to get traded,
so
I want to be ready.
you're making a case for him to be mature, but I'll use your own mind. When has he ever been mature?
Right, he's not. But I'm saying if he did it that way, we'd be like, wow, good job. If Baker actually did that.
Point. Isn't the argument here that we're saying that Baker Mayfield is growing up? That Baker Mayfield is indeed, with the experiences that he's had, with what he's gone through, with the added months of age, he's learning the most important thing he can possibly do right now is show the professional that he is. And it behooves him to go and have some value attached to him, to be traded for something that is worth something. And it is not likely that the Browns right now, the Browns ownership, after having chosen him first overall, is just going to say, okay, we wash your hands of you. You're free to go and do whatever you want to do.
I've seen some folks make the argument that if the Browns don't want him, and I think everybody here is in agreement, they don't. Yeah. Nobody but me seems to think that he's even an option to ever play for them again. So if that's obviously the case, and I think everybody agrees that it is, then why are they standing in his way from moving on and starting to go to OTAs with Seattle or with Carolina?
$18 million.
And what message does that send to every other player in the league about the Browns holding back a player that they don't want? It seems petulant.
Well, I don't know that that's entirely true, right? Because this was Baker Mayfield who initially demanded a trade out of there. And I think that's a really
but
good
Aditi,
point. Sorry,
after
I think Mike was the one who said it, $18.8 million.
Yeah, but he demanded the trade after it was public that the Browns were going after Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's almost like saying that you'll continue to date the girl that just tried to upgrade with a better boyfriend, even though she wasn't successul in landing him.
But Tua didn't ask for a trade last year. There was talk about Watson going there the whole season. He never complained, not once. Baker for 24 hours was crying about wanting to be traded. There was rumors of the Dolphins trading for Deshaun Watson for months, and Tua never said a peep.
But if you can keep that guy on your roster, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, Aditi.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I would just make the argument that whether it's totally fair or not, whether it's entirely accurate or not, the narrative right now across the country, across the National Football League, is that Baker Mayfield may not be a cultural fit, that Baker Mayfield may have a maturity thing. So what's the best way to combat that narrative? What's the best way to rewrite that narrative? By showing up and being mature. By saying, you know what, all I care about is the work. I am coming to work. And if this club doesn't want to use me, then I will find one that does. And the Browns are not going to stand in his way ultimately. But I think it's only fair if they're on the hook for $18 million and there's not, I hate to use the analogy, but it's not this. See, this is when you get a bad analogy in your head and you can't think of another one. This is what happens.
Aditi,
they're not pressed at this moment. There's nothing that says the deadline is tomorrow.
Right.
So
no,
why not
I get that.
show that Baker is worth more?
I get that, but we all agree that they don't want him. We all agree that. They know that. They've pretty much said as much.
They know the situation is no longer tenable.
They moved on from him.
Look, Kevin Stefanski told me a few weeks ago that he would have been sufficiently happy to move on with Baker Mayfield this year, and that he was not lying when he said he was confident in Baker Mayfield as a starter.
Maybe, but publicly, the wooing was already underway, and it was kind of embarrassing for Baker to have to watch all the national media reports that the Browns were flying to Houston and they were taking all of these public steps to replace Baker Mayfield. So my thing is, the Browns made their bed when word got out of the building in Berea that they were absolutely all in on Deshaun Watson. The Browns made their bed. They publicly staked their claim that they wanted Deshaun Watson and they wanted to move on from Baker Mayfield. So if the price tag for that is $18 million and have Baker go away and play for someone else, I would think that would have been discussed in the decision-making as to what could go wrong once we go public with our intention to get Watson. So now they made their bed. I think they've got a lie in it. Pay him, let him go play somewhere else, let him go, because he's not going to be here for you once the season begins. And I think every team knows, like to your point, a starting quarterback could get hurt, and that would escalate the value of Baker Mayfield. But at what point? Week 3 of the season? I don't know. I don't know that it will ever happen.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. But remember, everything in life essentially has an arc. You think that something has a certain value, and it takes a bit of time before you can stomach the fact that it doesn't necessarily have that value. And we talked about this just last week. It's not only Andrew Berry making this decision in a vacuum. He has a whole staff. He has ownership to respond to. He's got a whole slew of things that he needs to figure out and that he needs to satisfy. So it's not just on him. And maybe now, and I don't know this to be true, okay? I'm just saying maybe. Maybe there are members of the Browns organization, or there are people in the Browns building right now who say, you know what, we shouldn't have held so firm at that price before the draft. We should have indeed moved him to Carolina and picked up more of his salary. Maybe they're not saying that.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they are saying that.
I think in the end, the bottom line is Baker Mayfield's an overrated, petulant child. There's no doubt about it. And let's all be honest.
How do you feel about
Jimmy Garoppolo, a much more accomplished quarterback, I would say less talented than Baker, but a more accomplished quarterback than Baker, has gone to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, not one random win like T.J. Yates or Tim Tebow, and he is being pushed out of San Francisco for 2 years. 2 years, and he's not complained at all. I already gave you the Tua example. Baker, the Browns were after Watson for 24 hours, and he's already putting out social media posts. He's a baby. I think we should move on.
You get no argument from me on that.
Yeah.
But this is all the more reason why
Yes.
it's incumbent upon Baker to show he's not
Agreed.
the baby that you're calling
Agreed,
him.
but again, he's not showing.
Will
it.
he show up once training camp starts? Do you anticipate he'll be there?
I was going to ask, Didi, do you believe that if Baker Mayfield went to the general manager and say, hey, look, I know I had some missteps. I need to rehabilitate my career. I need to rehabilitate my image. Can I come back? I won't be an issue. I'll come do my thing. I'll rehab and do my thing. Do you think with your relationship with Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry that you talked to them, do you believe that they would let him back?
I think they would. And I think that another thing I would say is that the Browns are really good at nipping things in the bud. I remember a few years ago when Josh Gordon had been suspended and reinstated for, I don't know, the 1800th time. And the Browns made a point of having Josh Gordon talk on day one. So the media couldn't go crazy. The media couldn't run all these spins. They couldn't run all these narratives. It's like, here he is. He's talking. Okay, story's over. Done. So if Baker shows up, and then to your point, Adam, if he shows up and he says, look, I understand that my tenure here is probably over, but I do want to prove that I am here to work. I believe in myself. I know I'm a starting quarterback in this league. I'm here to take whatever reps I possibly can and continue to show what a healthy Baker Mayfield can do. Okay, fine. What is the media going to do then? And at some point, if you don't answer the question, then people stop asking the question. You know, look, I've been a reporter for 20 years. I can go to a football player and ask about a teammate. How many times did I have to ask about Antonio Brown? But at some point, when people keep saying nothing, you have to move on. That's
I hope he does show. I hope he does show up when training camp starts. I really do.
Yeah.
I hope he shows up
I think it's interesting what happens for mandatory minicamp because he can be fined just about $100,000, maybe a little bit shy of $100,000 if he doesn't show up to mandatory minicamp, which starts on June 14th, I believe it is.
Right, and that was my point.
So I think we get an answer even before then, even before training camp.
But is that voluntary for the team, though?
These are voluntary. These are, but once the June minicamp starts,
if that minicamp starts and they just have an agreement that he doesn't have to come in there,
well,
do
they wouldn't fine. They had an agreement, but
but to Aditi's point, they're fine with him being there.
Yeah,
she thinks that they're fine with him.
So they should fine him if he doesn't come.
So, I think if it comes to that, Baker will show up.
Yeah,
I do, and so then we'll get to see exactly how this would play out in real time.
And I think that is one of the big misnomers here. Is Baker a mercurial personality? Yes. Does he take everything personally? Yes. Are there times where his antics seem a little immature or may create a bit of a distraction? Sure. But at the end of the day, Baker Mayfield is not a cancer. I mean, each year when that Odell Beckham Jr.'s father's video and Odell and Baker and all of that was happening, there wasn't a team Baker and a team Odell. It wasn't as if people were like, get rid of this one or get rid of that one.
I agree with
Baker
that.
is not a cancer. And so show up, do your job, do what you need to do, show you're valuable, show you've grown up and matured, and that, yes, you do want to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and you can be.
Aditi,
I mean, there's nothing else Baker can do to increase his value or his likability right now.
We got 2
Nobody's
2 minutes with Aditi.
The doomsday clock is about to play. You're going to hear the doomsday clock.
We got to get to this.
Start the 2-minute warning.
The 2-minute warning.
We're going to get you to the dentist on time. We promise.
We got to get to this PFF article, which is where the whole thing started there on the cornerbacks with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. Do you think they belong in that? I mean, I think
we have to kill that alarm, guys.
The top groups. Do you think they're the best cornerback duo? I mean, it's hard to compare cornerback duos, but they certainly belong in that conversation.
Well, and you know what? That was kind of my point in that initial tweet. I ended it by saying, either way, it will be decided on the field. You know, like, I'm one of those people that thinks a lot of this is hype and it's fun and talk is cheap to some degree. I took so much heat a year ago when I was on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network, and we were asked about wide receiver duos. And I made the point of saying that I was choosing the Bills wide receivers because my son is a Bills fan and I wanted him to be happy for me. But, oh my God, the world went crazy. And it was like, we'll see what happens. Let's go see what happens on the field. And so I think there's a really great argument to be made for Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. I expect Greg Newsome to take a jump in year 2. I like the way the two of them work well together. I think Denzel Ward has proven who he is. I also think the Browns are really helped by that pass rush up front. We know it's all about rush and coverage, and that the two work together, and that a great pass rush makes the back end look better, and a really good back end makes the rush get home even better. I was just making the point, hey, I think there's an argument to be made that those two belong in the top 4. I'm sure that they are bothered by it, which we saw that Greg Newsome was like, oh, sure, okay, sleep on us. And then it'll be decided on the field.
Yeah, your answer was the smart one. That's why I was so surprised that Tony took the shot, because these rankings are stupid. It's like asking who's the prettiest girl. That is so subjective and stupid.
I think something to make my son happy. Come on.
Which I love.
Aditi's got to go to the dentist.
Your time is up. But before you go, I know you're in overtime. I just got to tell you, my mom, Peggy Polk, it's the first time she said anything about this show. She was thrilled that I was on a show with you. She's not impressed by Jay. She's not impressed by G. Not impressed by Adam.
No.
But when she saw that I was on, she's like, oh my gosh. Now, so you impressed Peggy Polk.
And that's hard to do.
It is. So congratulations and thank you. She's a big
Peggy.
fan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Aditi, get to the dentist and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right, great. And Peggy,
Peace
you did
up.
a great job with your son. I'll see y'all next week. Have
Did
fun.
you hear that, Mom?
All right.
Did you
Peggy
hear that,
knows
Mom?
that. Peggy knows that
Oh, man,
already.
thank you.
So I think the biggest takeaway is that she completely disagrees with Mike and I, and agrees with you on whether it would be the mature thing or not for Baker to show up.
Right.
And that's okay.
If he think about how much of his pride he would have to swallow to come in for voluntary OTAs, do a press conference, say, I get it. Deshaun Watson's the quarterback here. I'm going to work my ass off. If it's a chance to still play here, who knows? If not, I want to be ready to play somewhere else. That is the ultimate swallowing of the pride.
Mikey, break
I would
the
have
tie.
a lot.
Immature or mature to not show up?
You know what? I actually think it's more mature for Baker to show up and just get his face
We lose,
in
Mike.
the building and make them make a move. It's really easy to forget about him if he's a afterthought.
But he's got to speak. That's part of it. Because if he just shows up and he's surly and a jerk, then he's a distraction.
That sends the wrong message.
Here's one thing, though, a clarification of your point. I don't agree with cutting him, though, right now. I just don't see any point to it. I know that it's like a distraction, whatever, but again, I agree. It's more of a distraction to us and to sports writers and to Twitter than it is to the team itself right now. You don't hear, like, Myles Garrett saying, what's Baker doing around here?
they don't care.
No,
They know who their quarterback is.
So what's the difference whether you cut him now and lose that money or you wait? People, hindsight is 20/20, and memories we create in our memory. We create we remember things more fondly with time. That's why presidential approval ratings go up over time. Baker's 2020 season is going to start getting the back of people's heads in Seattle and stuff when they're watching their stiff quarterbacks out there, and they're going to be like, you know what? He did take them to a playoff game, won their first one. The longer we have some time here, that gives them more time. What's the big deal? And what if we ate $10 million of his contract and Seattle eats $8 million? Isn't it worth waiting and just keeping him there just in case that happens? I'd like $8 million.
The only reason I cut him is to do him a favor. Why? I don't think they owe him that favor.
No, it's not just to do him a favor, because there have been some critics come out in the last week or two that have said every other player in the National Football League. I keep saying this on the show. Players are for players.
Right.
They got one another's backs. They're all watching how Cleveland has handled this whole thing. First of all, they publicly were saying, we're fine with Baker. They were telling Baker privately, we're fine with you. And then we started hearing the reports, wow, they're really going after Deshaun Watson. They've been thinking about Deshaun Watson for 7 months.
Right, but that's been the business of football.
Yeah, I know, I get that. But when they rolled on their guy, and the public narrative became a lie once they found out, and once we all found out they were going after Deshaun Watson, their public narrative became a lie. So they were sort of caught in that. And now everybody knows they want to be done with Baker Mayfield, but they're keeping him here. No other player wants to have that happen to them. Trust me. They want to move on with his life. Here's what Baker wants. Who am I playing for
Too
next?
bad. You're our employee. You're too bad. You got to wait there.
I get that. You're our employee, but the
But nobody
public
wants him
perception-
that bad. Otherwise, he'd be there.
There are teams that want him for free.
Of course.
They want me,
And there are
they want
teams
me
that
for
will
free.
pen him
Just
in
to clean
as
up.
their starter.
A couple, yes. But if anybody wanted him that bad, $18 million is not a lot for a quarterback.
Easy.
No, because they know they don't have to pay $18 million.
I'll take him for 6.
So let me ask you, this was
They were offered.
If Aaron
the
Rodgers,
Browns could have done that.
if Aaron Rodgers was on the market today, and anybody could pay $18 million for him,
Right.
everybody would pay 18. As a matter of fact, they would go over 18.
Of course you would.
But here's the thing. That's the thing about it. If you're, and I don't argue whether or not Baker is good or not. Baker is a solid quarterback, right? But the principle is nobody is willing to pay for it.
Because Baker's not taking a team over the top. Who's he taking over the top?
When the Browns and OBJ had come to their public divorce,
Yes.
Right.
what did the Browns do with OBJ?
Cut
Paid
out.
him and cut him.
Why?
Because they felt he was a distraction at that point.
Because
I
they
guess.
chose
No.
Baker at that
Yeah.
point.
They did, the option was to trade him. You don't think they tried to trade OBJ?
They did, right?
And they didn't have
Yeah.
any takers.
So why were there no takers? Because they all knew eventually he's going to be on the market for free. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with Baker.
But if
This
you
is
wanted somebody bad enough, you'd still trade for him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you understand
Right.
that they've moved on,
Right.
and they clearly had, and they're going to release him.
Yeah, but say there are 3 teams that are in the market for some kind of a quarterback, and they know that there are 2 other teams.
It's called
and you
collusion.
release him, and it's free. If you
Yeah.
release him and it's free, then it's a free for all between those 3 teams. Why
Right.
wouldn't you, if we were one of those teams, be like, I'll give you $4 million for that guy,
That's
and then
a
we
great
get $4 million
question.
off our contract?
Because this is no secret, the NFL has been doing this for years. They all know the game. Let the highest bidder win. No one will have to give up anything for him.
Right.
Yeah, but
And that's collusion. It's.
But you
I
won't have
mean,
to give
it's
up
not-
anything for him in a trade. You give up a 7th-round pick. I mean, that's essentially nothing.
But nobody did it.
right?
And the Browns released
Not yet.
him.
Because
The Browns let him go.
right now, Seattle. How many games do you think Seattle's going to win? Right
It's
now.
almost impossible to say. We don't know who their quarterback is going to be.
All right, but let's say it's Drew Lock or
Okay.
Geno Smith.
4 or 5 games.
If Baker's their quarterback, how many are they going to win?
I don't know. 6, 7.
So what's the point of getting them?
Well, you'd like to win as many games as you could.
But does it matter ultimately if you win 4 or 6? That's
And
why
here's the
nobody's.
thing. We can sit here and say we think it's going to be 4, we think
Right.
it's going to be 7. Did you say last July that Cincinnati was going to win the Super Bowl?
No.
And you're a fan of theirs.
Yes.
So you don't know.
Yeah, but the point is, you have to. You're a GM. You're like, okay, is this quarterback making me? I said recently, or it was a couple months ago actually, that that Baker's not that much better than Sam Darnold. So what's the point? And people went bananas when I tweeted this. Like, of course he's better.
He is.
Well, yeah, he's better, but.
Yeah.
I'm only trading for an upgraded quarterback if it makes a difference on how good my team is. And the difference between Sam
listen.
Darnold and Baker is irrelevant,
But
in my
Bull,
opinion.
to your point,
Yeah.
Baker is better. I mean, and everybody
but
was
it's not
right.
It's not significant
But
enough that it makes them.
If you're a GM
yeah,
and you have a chance to upgrade a position, that's what the Browns did.
For like
Yes.
$4 million, maybe.
The
Might be able to
Browns
get
had
him
a
for 4.
chance
Yeah.
to upgrade the most important position in all of sports.
right,
So they did it.
right.
I can't fault
And they
them
would
for
do
that.
it at any price because Deshaun Watson makes them a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
It wasn't any price. It was the steepest price
Yes,
of all time.
but
But they were
did-
willing to do it.
They
Right.
were willing to do it.
But
It's an
nobody's
all-in
even
move.
willing to pay Baker anything because they're like, he's not that much better.
And he's going to be free.
And he's well,
gonna be
maybe,
free.
but man, I don't know.
This has been going on for months, and he's still a Cleveland Brown.
It's not bothering me having him just sit at home. I just have him sit at home for as long as we want.
I just
don't
think
care.
that, and as much
I'm
as we
cool
can
with it.
say
Just
that
have him
it's
sit
not a
there.
distraction to the team,
Yeah.
there have been plenty of episodes where there were quarterback controversies or there was
Yeah.
something like this that was the unspoken, even though the players weren't talking about it. And then later they all come out and say, it took us off our game. It's something we didn't need to worry about or deal
Yeah.
with. Just eliminate
I
the
just
distraction.
think it's so weird that some fans and media members think like Baker's owed something. This is a business for him just like it is for everybody else. He's owed nothing.
He's not, but once a team, in my view,
Yeah.
once a team makes a decision that they're done with you, then be done with you.
But again,
and if the market says
hasn't
there's
San
no trade
Francisco done the
value-
same with Garoppolo?
Yeah, but San Francisco at least is ready to move. They can continue to play with Garoppolo. They've got all the pieces that are there.
Right.
And Kevin Stefanski believes that I was perfectly ready to go to war with Baker.
But
and I think he would have been.
But Garoppolo doesn't really want to be in San Francisco because they've decided he's not good enough. And yet he's being a good soldier about
I
it.
don't know that that's true. Garoppolo has stated publicly he wants to stay in San Francisco. He does. He wants to continue playing
I
for
thought
the
he
49ers.
said after the year that he did like
that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, but see,
Right.
because he's
Yeah.
being mature
But,
about it.
but by the way, if you're Garoppolo, who do you want to play with? The cast of characters that they have or the unknown?
Right, but they decided he wasn't good enough to win with. And
Just
Baker
like-
is in the Garoppolo class of quarterback,
Right.
in my opinion.
Now, I would guess that if the Niners would have signed Deshaun Watson, that they would have been done with Garoppolo. Why would you keep him? And that's my question with Cleveland and Baker. Why would you keep him? Mikey, do you have something, or are we just going to go to break?
Listen, I love you guys.
Yeah, no.
You're my
Thank you.
favorite.
I know
but
you
I
do.
produce an entire rundown. If we get to 20% of it on a day like today, it'll be amazing. We will do the Ward Newsome, where do they rank in the best defensive back duos at some point this week. We have that fully produced, but we got to take a break.
All right, we can
I got a
come
question
back,
for you
can't
guys. We got Jay Stevens, Lockdown Buckeyes, coming on at 12:15. We got to do Judge Jay. We got to do Mike's game, so we may have to push that back to another day.
Okay.
My question for you guys, though, do we want to do Judge Jay in 15 minutes? Jay, can you get dressed and undressed?
Well, here's the thing on Judge Jay. Because of the I'm not married to that today. I don't know where you guys are.
We can skip it. We could totally skip it.
None of these guys
fine
have
with
been to
skipping
Kelly's
everything.
or Put in Bay.
Yeah, let's skip it.
So, I mean, how are they going to debate whether
Adjusting
they want
on
to
the
go
fly.
to
Let's
Kelly's or
adjust
Put in
on the
Bay?
fly.
And we can do that we can do that tomorrow.
We will adjust on the fly, so we're going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to come back to a little weight loss.
Yes.
We'll do a little good bet, bad bet. We'll get Jay on, and then we'll finish the show.
Sounds
Well, we
good.
got to do Mike's game.
Oh, that's
Mike's
in the
game.
D block. Don't worry. I'm not forgetting Mike's
Okay,
game.
all right.
We'll get the Mike's game.
That'll be the. We'll do Mike Polk and top 5 at a block.
Great.
Right coming up for 15 minutes. We got good bet, bad bet, weight loss update, then Jay Stevens coming back.
All right. How much weight did Bull lose in a week? How much weight did G. Bush lose in a week? Combined, that number's pretty good. And
That's
I'm
a Diet
proud
Red
of
Bull.
both.
He's drinking Diet Red Bull,
Diet.
just so you know. He's
Yeah.
being careful.
He's cutting down on sugar.
Red Bull, I play video games, cut the check. I'll be willing to endorse you.
Especially
go.
after the weigh-in today. It's sugar-free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back right after this. Stay with us. Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajay Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3. Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter to you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life. Okay.
She loves her.
I've got your dad.
Oh, yeah, you got him. No doubt.
All right, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're talking about the weight challenge. So in case you missed it, last week, both Bull and G. Bush said, you know what, carrying a little extra weight, would like to lose some weight. So they
Lot of extra weight.
talked amongst themselves, and they decided, and this is very risky, by the way. I don't know that I'd be willing to put myself out there so much.
Publicly.
But they both said, let's do this where we weigh
Yeah.
in every Tuesday, and we sort of go through the paces with how much we lose. So, Mikey, you want to start with G. Bush's
We're going to start
weigh-in?
with last week's
Okay.
measurables.
All right.
Take a
So
look.
here they are. So Bull tipped in at 315. His height is somewhat shorter than G. Bush.
Just a skosh.
And I love the reach shorter, and G. Bush's reach is longer. Now, to be fair, 346 on a 6'4" frame like yourself, you played defensive line. I mean, you're a big cat.
Proportional.
Yeah, it's proportional. It is. So that's where we started, 346, 315. And I thought your guys' goals were a bit ambitious. I hope and pray that you get there.
Yeah.
But each of you guys want to lose like 90 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to
Which
be
is
hard for
big.
us to sit here and watch if that doesn't happen. You're making, it's risky for us. Because we got to watch, like, if you guys gain 5 ounces some week, we got to be like, hey, man.
You can do it. Stay with
Okay,
me.
next week will be better.
Could get emotional in here.
Yeah.
Next time, I think Mike could eat a full side of beef and not gain an ounce.
Yeah,
Like,
but I have
Have
colitis,
you
so I'd
ever been overweight?
immediately go into the bathroom and then
you do
deal
have
with
colitis?
it. Yeah, so it's like
That's the worst.
yeah, it's not fun. It's like Crohn's' ugly sister. So
Yeah, I've heard it's awful.
it's not a blast, but it does keep me in that swimsuit shape.
He's always rocking the summer body. Okay, so do we have G. Bush's weigh in from today? Okay,
This is G. Bush on the treadmill.
So I was actually in the gym yesterday when he made this.
There it
this
is.
Video.
It's nice
And
that
you're-
24-hour fitness didn't mind that he did this.
No, it's right here.
I know.
This is in our palatial studio.
And he is really calling out Adam.
Yeah.
I'm telling him that he might as well fast and pray. Like, this is exactly what I said. No
he
food
was-
for you.
So you were
Yes.
feeling yourself. I was in the
was.
gym, and when I heard you talking to yourself, I looked over and I saw you were recording yourself, and I'm like, damn, he's cashing.
talking.
Seriously.
A lot of talking.
He's writing a big check right now.
Well, see, that's that motivation. I needed to send that out to my man. I'm gonna tell you what. The only it's like singing competitions. You can't control how well somebody else sings.
Right.
Like if they slay
That's
us,
true.
you can't just dig deep and just kill it. No,
you can't.
So I was looking last week, and I will give foreshadowing to this. I gave foreshadowing. I looked over at Adam the Bull. I said, man, there's a blue. He got that blue. He didn't even have his plaid on. He had his blue shirt on. I said, man.
He tapped me.
I said, yo, Jay, man, he loose under that shirt a little bit. I don't
He
like
did.
that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
right.
that.
He
You
did.
get nervous.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's that shirt is fitting too loosely. I don't like that right now. And you know what he did after the show?
Well, right back
He went
in
right
the-
over next door
back on the treadmill.
and killed the cardio.
Wow.
So
You
roll G.
inspired
Bush's
that.
weigh-in from today.
We'll see in a sec, but check this out first. This is from today.
Yeah.
G. Bush weighing in, and Brianna edited this, so we're going to see what comes next. But G. Bush checks in. This is a live reading of a video on air. This is
Now-
great YouTube.
He was 346.
Yeah.
He weighed in today at 341.
340.
340. Okay, so unfortunately you can't hear what's going on
right.
here. So
They seem very
Bull-
joyous, though.
So he was very joyous. G. Bush tipped in at 340, so a net loss of 6 pounds.
I take 6.2
6 and a half.
6.5.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is good, but if you double 6.5, you get 13.
Man.
And that's what Bull lost.
Yeah!
Congratulations to
13
Bull.
Hey, I'm not a cheater. I'm gonna
There he
pull up.
goes.
My mic is out of here.
All right,
Let me
yeah,
take
is
this
he-
off.
no, you're good. You
Let
got
me
some
take
room.
this off.
You got some
Here's
room.
what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Man, shout out to my man.
I get the belt.
Hey,
It'll fit
man.
now. Now it'll fit.
There it is.
Very good.
Adam the Bull, bro. I'll tell you
I feel
what.
like I need to get in the ring and hit somebody over the head with this.
Hey, you did your thing on that, man. 13.
That's insane. That's like
update.
2 toddlers.
13.
Two small children.
You know?
You know what's funny, Mike? Before he got on, he was talking about weight loss and how he's done all this before, and
Yeah.
he's gone through diets, and he goes, "Yeah, one time I lost 10 pounds in a week."
Wow. Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, that's, if you think about it, if you start thinking about 10 pounds in a week,
Right.
and then he stands up on the scale and 13.
That's the
He
second
just-
biggest
So
weight. I
how
once
did you
lost
do it?
18 in a week.
So what'd
when
you
I was
do?
at my heaviest.
18 in
My
a week.
heaviest.
How did you do it? What were you changing?
That's like Korean War prison camp numbers as far as weight
Well,
loss goes.
listen. Obviously, I've had my terrible ups and downs with the weight. I keep hoping this is like I always think of the show Quantum Leap with Scott
Sure, we all
Bakula.
do.
What
And
great.
of course, who doesn't,
I know,
right?
yeah.
I was just watching reruns of that on
Sam.
Sci-Fi.
Oh, it's good stuff.
But
We all do.
they have to mute out some words because they're inappropriate
It's
words
gotten
now.
a lot more inappropriate, yep.
But so I keep hoping this is the leap home, the leap back to being thin. You know what I mean? But
You know,
when
look in the mirror and
yeah,
just be
right.
like,
Look, I'm a skinny guy.
This is for the Quantum Leap
Yes,
fans.
right. If you don't know,
Casino.
they're actually doing a remake of it. It's coming on in the fall.
I heard it'll
It'll
stink.
suck.
It'll
It's going to be
stink.
terrible. But what I did this week, Jay, to answer your question is, I'm doing the intermittent fasting, which I've done in the past. In the past, I've eaten between 12 and 7. Now I'm eating between like 1:30 and 7.
Because of this show, you're
because of the
losing
show.
weight.
I'm not eating before the show.
Yeah.
I'm not eating during the show.
Is it hard?
It hasn't been this week, and I think it's, for me, it's almost like the breaking of the seal. Like once I eat, then I'm hungry the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But
What are you eating when you do eat?
so when I'm eating chicken, turkey, pork, fish.
All healthy.
No red meats. I may have a small steak for my birthday, which is coming up.
You deserve it.
But I don't know. I've had
Treat
enough
yourself.
steaks.
Yeah. Just,
But I've been eating, and the only carbs I'm eating is I have only one serving of carbs a day. Either a baked potato, some days none at all, but either a baked potato, brown rice, quinoa, barley, or bulgur, if anybody knows what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's
Sounds
another
vulgar.
grain, a healthy grain.
Is quinoa like couscous? Just like
Kinda
gross,
one of
gross
those things.
rice?
Yeah.
Are you, like no sweets? None
No
of that?
sweets, no fried food.
No sodas. No pops,
creamy
no-
things. I only drink in water. That's it. And my snacks are fruit.
Well, you're doing great,
Or nuts.
man. We're thrilled for
Thank you.
Please
Yeah,
keep
I
it up
guess
so it's not awkward next week.
Yes, we don't want to come in here
Or do
and
it on
watch
Wednesday
go
when I'm
on.
not
I
here.
feel
no,
very
no.
motivated. I did 3 workouts with my trainer. I got to get the walking going more. I get inspiration from Rocky on my
Yeah,
shirt here.
you're wearing the
There
shirt
you
well.
go. And so thank you guys. I
Now,
appreciate it.
now I
Nice
know
work.
that I've seen you sweating in the gym, so I know you're doing things on the cardio side. Has it been tough on the eating side?
No, see, here's what it is. See, I got the Harlem Heat voice going. Booker T and Stevie Ray in my ears right now. By the way, I'm coming back to get the belt next week. You jumped off to a nice little lead, sucker.
That's a good impression.
You
Good
said the
impression.
bar.
I'm going to be like George the Animal Steel. Do you remember him? He used to eat the turnbuckle.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So here's the thing. For me, I told you before, you get tempted. Weights, do not touch no weights. See, now I did a couple weights last
But
week.
I did weights 3 times.
Cardio. I can't see. I bulk up too much. No weights, no lifting, none of that. I'm cardio king now.
Yeah.
Now I got your sweatpants on. I got my joints ready to go. And here's the thing. I've now moved back my last meal from 9 o'clock to 7. It just happened just now.
Wow. I saw it
doing.
happen. I saw it happen.
It just now happened. Look, now here's the great thing about the great thing about this is I'm actually happy for him, right? Because at the end of the day, the goal is for us to both meet our goal.
That's right.
Yes.
Competition doesn't
Get there
happen.
together.
And we're going for
Competition
lunch,
doesn't-
I think, tomorrow.
Yes, so here's what we're gonna do. Last week we went to Slimans and we would say, yo, this is what we eat. This is how we usually eat bad. We're gonna look back at that when we get small and be like, remember we was doing this?
That's right.
So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give y'all some videos. We're gonna I think we're gonna go to Blue Point Grill. And we're gonna show you guys what we eat now, much healthier,
Good,
and give you guys something out there to do. And by the way, don't just watch us. You could be part of the weight loss challenge too. You can send your tapes and what you're doing, whether it's working, whether it's cardio, whether you preparing a meal with less fat and stuff.
It's hard, G. It's
Yes.
hard. It's hard to lose weight. And, it's ultimately an excuse. None of us want to be fat. I'm sure those of you who are fat at home don't want to be fat. It sucks being fat.
hard.
I see all my jiggly neck. It's gross. I don't want to be fat. Nobody wants to, but sometimes, the obsession over food, the food binging, which
It's
I know you have a
hard,
problem with.
man.
It
Food is
outweighs
good.
the want. But I want it. I hope this is the time for both of us.
Get a
So
partner.
we're gonna push it. Let's go.
Get a partner.
Let's go.
Accountability
To
and
try
partner.
you.
Mikey, go ahead.
Bull, that's
I'm
upside
very
down.
proud of you too. The chat is very proud of you too, and we got Jay on, so we're gonna run through good bet, bad bet real quick.
Okay.
Then we're gonna get to Jay.
Let's do it.
So let's pull up the standings. You guys stink, and by you guys I mean everyone but G. Bush.
G. Bush is running away with this
G. Bush is
competition.
running away with it.
Long
Look
time
at
ago.
these records.
I'm losing money now.
Mike
Wow.
Polk is still
Mike Polk,
technically in the
7-1?
lead.
Mike!
I know, right? It's weird.
He's a tactical genius.
Man,
So let's
Yeah.
get to today's bets.
Let's go.
We start with the Guardians. They're underdogs in Houston, getting a 1.5. It's Plesac versus Valdez.
G all by himself again.
You're not holding that Astros offense down
Not 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I felt good about it. We on the streak a little bit.
And
We gonna-
Plesac ain't McKenzie
I hope you're right.
now.
I'd love to be
No, I
wrong
wish
on
he
that one.
was. Yeah. I'm gonna ask Mikey to get Mike's picks from now on. I'm just gonna
Get him
mirror
ahead.
Here's what you're gonna find. As we do this long enough, we're all gonna be right around 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll
there's a reason
balance
these
out.
That's why
casinos
Vegas
have
is still in
hot
business.
Yeah, that's
You know?
right. All right.
All right,
next
second bet. Over 6.5 Ks tonight for Plesac. No
Yeah.
disagreement here.
Houston does not strike out. They put the ball in play. Even against McKenzie last night, who's a strikeout guy. They just don't swing and miss.
I don't think Plesac makes it through 5, which means
I hope
yeah.
you're wrong on that, because if he
Yeah,
doesn't
so
make it
do I.
through 5, it's going to be a long one. All right, last one.
We have finally some disagreement. Golden State +1 at Dallas. going for the sweep.
Gee, you and I together on that one.
Yes.
Hard to go 4-0.
Yeah.
It's hard to sweep.
I agree.
It is, but I think the Mavericks, the way they
done.
lost game 2, that just crushed them.
That was it.
Boy, they
Game
look
2 was
like-
done.
All Golden State's got to win. All they do is have to win. It's not even, they don't have to cover.
I
They're
read
getting the
something
point.
this morning that said if you're ever looking, they said eventually a team has to come back from 3-0.
Yeah.
And the author's premise was this is the time. He made the case that the Mavs are going to win the next
Really?
4. And I'm like,
That seems excessive.
Why
Yeah,
would
that
you
does
hang
seem
your
excessive.
hat on this?
Exactly.
well,
kudos
I think
to
based
him.
on what they did to Phoenix and how they can be Jekyll and Hyde. Dallas.
We'll also
Sure.
forget when he's wrong. When he's wrong, we'll be like, yeah, we told you.
Exactly.
But if he is for
Make
some
the
reason right,
bombastic
no risk.
prediction.
if
Yeah,
he's
right.
right, he just made his career.
Yes.
That's the
And
thing.
if he's
That's
wrong,
the
who
nice thing
cares?
about making those specific kind
Oh,
of.
yeah.
There
you
were
know.
guys last July that were saying the Bengals were going to win the Super Bowl. Now, they've probably said that before, but this time they were right.
Right. Was it
wasn't
Joe
one of
Burrow's
those
parents?
Yeah, exactly. All right, where are we going?
We got Jay Stevens on the line.
Jay Stevens.
On Buckeyes.
Yes, bring him in.
Nice.
Bring him in. Jay, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh man, he hates us.
You said we had him, Mikey.
He's coming. No,
Stinks.
Steve was pulling in a video. We're all good. Jay's here with
That was
us.
so embarrassing.
There he is. My man, what's up? Hey, tomorrow we have Buckeye head coach, and I can't believe, how did we do this? Do we know how this happened? How did we get Ryan Day?
We'd use Cameo.
We brought
No.
them.
We're just paying $50 to have him show
Ryan
up.
Day's coming on the show tomorrow, Jay. I mean, you've got to be impressed with that, right?
Oh yeah. New
like,
show.
"Happy
You got the
birthday,
head ball
Jay."
coach on there. It's
That's
a
big.
great thing for you guys.
Is that why you have a beard? Because you want to look like more like Ryan Day? Did you copy him
He's
with the
doing
beard?
this because of me. I had
Nice.
it before
That's
Coach
what I
Day
said.
had
I
it.
told you
He's
guys
doing
he's doing it because of
me.
him. Yep.
Jay, your beard's on point. I
It
mean,
is.
that's
It's solid.
just
It connects and everything.
It's well, the angles are there. It's just full. It's very nice. What's the one question you want us to ask Ryan Day tomorrow?
Oh, one question?
Yeah, what's the one thing
how
we
he
need to
did
ask him?
How he did during paintball over the weekend. I saw the team went and played paintball. I want to know about his paintball skills more than the football team right now.
All right, it's on the
Think
list.
The players were targeting him, like getting their frustration if they don't have enough playing time, and trying to crush him with the paintball.
I'm sure they were doing something, man. I mean, it's the coach. I mean, sometimes you have to do things for playing time. You got to try to go after the coach to get more playing time. I'm curious how he did. I'm curious how the teams did. But it's May. I mean, we could talk NIL and all the other stuff. I want to do the fun stuff right now this time of year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tell me why I'm wrong. The Buckeyes will win the national championship this year. Why? How would you? Yeah, tell me why I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong,
I don't think you're wrong,
you
actually.
think they're going to do it?
Yeah, I think Ryan Day has been building this team up for this year, for this moment. I believe the offense has improved in numerous ways. I believe the defense will be a whole lot stronger, even into some of their weakest areas, and people think that they probably will. So I do agree with you. I've been a pusher of that for quite a long time. You can talk about Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, whatever you want. I do believe that Ohio State, their path this year, their schedule sets them up to have tougher tests during the season. Then you have the Big Ten championship, then another playoff berth. I do believe the Buckeyes will win the Natty in January.
So is Ryan Day, if they don't win, is he on the hot seat? Because I know it sounds crazy because he's won 1 million games, but if at Ohio State, it's all about winning the national championship.
Oh, hell, he just got a big extension though.
Yeah, but they're willing to pay that. Go ahead.
And Jay's correct. He just got an extension, extended it 2 more years, get $9.5 million. I mean, he got the bag. But no, I don't think he's on the hot seat. I mean, let's go back 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Jim Tressel, he had years where he did not win the national championship, and I don't think he was on the hot seat. I don't think if you had the tattoo gate, Jim Tressel would have been gone. I mean, he had the thing rolling in Columbus when he was there. Urban Meyer, when he was not there in the national championship, I don't think he was on the hot seat. Now, health things happen with Urban Meyer. I don't think Ryan Day is on the hot seat at all. I think people will not be happy in Columbus. I know I will have my own things to say.
And those guys did win championships. Those guys both won championships. Day hasn't.
They didn't, correct, but they didn't win every year. True. Jim Tressel did go. I think he went to 3-1-1. Urban Meyer went to 1-1-1 while in Columbus. But I do think Ryan Day is moving up and up the ladder. I saw rankings recently where Ryan Day was the 6th best coach in college football via one publication. Okay, great. If you're the number 6 best coach, if you're the 6th best coach in college football, why in the world would he be on the hot seat if he doesn't win the Natty? Now, granted, if he does go let's say he has a Nebraska year, which I don't see that happening, but they go 3-9 in the regular season and they just have a really, really bad season, that might be hot seat worthy.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, if he goes sideways like that, Columbus would lose its mind, especially with this team because he's got so much talent. So, Jay, I love the offense. I don't see how anybody stops us for any length of time. I think they're going to score a minimum of 30 points against any team on their schedule. I just think they're that good. But convince me that the defense can keep up with the offense or even play well enough that you can win a national championship that way.
One of the areas of concern for me last year was the defensive line. Now, people talk about how Still Chambers did good on defense and Denzel Burke was a bright spot on the defensive back. I think the defensive line held that defense back in a big way last year. There was rotation things that were going on, and you thought you were going to get players that were going to play better and step up in ways and they did not. The offense, you say 30. I think they could score 40, 42 against everybody simply because, well, there's two things. You have a duo of running backs, could be a trio of running backs, as I've heard lately, where they might be trying to work in 3 running backs, not 2. But your running back duo of Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams, and then you have a traditional and a real offensive line. None of this 4 tackle stuff we saw last year. A real offensive line this year with 2 guards and 2 tackles. I believe the running game will be back up to where it needs to be, averaging 250 on the ground, averaging 250 in the air. So I think I can up you there to go maybe 40, 42 points per game should be the average for the Buckeyes. But then we think about the defense. This defensive line this year is going to be better, a whole lot better. And that's where things start with the defense. As good as the linebacker play was from Stowe Chambers, it can get even better with a good defensive line and freeing him up more freely to run, fill holes, fill gaps, and quickly tackle the guy with the ball. So I do believe the defense can get better, and we're going to see week number 1. Season opener, game day is going to be there. It's in prime time on ABC. We're going to see that defense be the defense that's going to put the entire country on notice and say, we saw what we did last year. We saw what happened last year in the Rose Bowl. But that was last year. This is a new year, new coaching staff, and I do believe this defense will be one of the better defenses in the country.
You know, Jay, let me ask you this. You know, we talk about the defense, right? You start off with Notre Dame, right? But for me, it hasn't just been a defense last year. It's been a defense the last 4 years. Yeah. I don't think the defense plays aggressive enough. I know they like to, get pressure before. And I watched them play Oregon, and I just sat there and watched them bring 4 and get torched. And I'm like, what are we doing? Ohio State recruits year in, year out some of the best guys in the country. I think a little bit of them getting a little complacent is they've been able to get pressure with the Bosa's, Chase Young. They've had some top-notch edge rushers. They got to help those edge rushers out a little bit by bringing some people. I understand you want to play at 4 yards and play zone and do some things like that, but I think up front, unless they maximize and do something on defense, they're going to have trouble with the teams that are going to run the football. If you get to play Alabama, they're going to run the football. You play Michigan, and Michigan ran the heck out of the football last year.
Killed them with it.
What are they going to do with that mix, and are they going to play more aggressive this year on the defensive end of the football?
G. Bush, it's like you and I have been talking for days and for years about things going on with the Ohio State Buckeye defense, because I'm right there with you. But you mentioned Chase Young, the Bosa's. Sam Hubbard wasn't bad either. I mean, he's doing this thing in the National Football League. So we get caught up with the names. Chase Young, the Bosa's, top overall draft picks in the National Football League. That's great. But Ohio State has always had another guy there that has been someone that has been a really solid piece on the other side of the defensive line to be a starter and that can be a good piece in the National Football League. Also, something else that we talked about, will be another guy that comes on Locked On Buckeyes every now and then. Linebacker play at Ohio State really hasn't been – there's been a drop-off. No, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's recruiting. I don't know exactly where – I don't know if it's mentality of these athletes. I have no idea. But the linebacker mentality in the play, talk about aggressiveness, talk about a lack of aggressiveness there. That's where there has been a big lacking there. And so I do think we're going to get a better defensive line, but I do ultimately think the mentality and the aggressiveness and the physicality at linebacker will be a whole lot better. Jim Knowles is not a guy coming in that's just going to come in and say, well, you guys are going to be just the same old linebackers you have been. It's going to be the same old defense. No. There were drastic changes that need to be made. And Jim Knowles realized, I'm going to do this to make sure that not only do I secure my job, because he wants a payday as well, he's going to make sure that this team and this defense is the best that it can be. Aggressiveness on the defensive line is huge, but it's they also need better play at linebacker as well.
Where's the Chris Spielmans and the Andy Katzenmoyer?
Laurinaitis.
It almost feels like, Jay, that they've become infatuated. So if you look at their scholarship currency, you know they're going to go after the quarterback. You know they're going to go after a running back and a lot of wide receivers. They always have strong defensive linemen. They always have corners that are NFL caliber. But it's almost like they've just completely ignored that part of the defense. And I don't know. For my money, I think that's the heart and soul of the defense for me.
Oh yeah. Well, think about it. Think about going into last season. You had a running back go to defense and become one of the better linebackers on the team.
That was embarrassing.
Think about this offseason. You have a running back at Arizona State transferring to Ohio State to play linebacker. Now, I don't think Chip Trayanum is going to get on the field and be a starter this year, but I think that tells you a lot about the caliber of play at Ohio State at that position. In the Rose Bowl, you have a guy that played tight end the entire year go over to linebacker out of necessity and be one of the better defensive players in that game.
Stunning.
You're correct, and I do think, though, this linebacker group, it's all about a mentality. A lot of it's up here. Now, you talk about going after the quarterback, after going the receivers, and those things are great. Those things are going to get the clicks and things like that. But I do believe, though, Jim Knowles, Ryan Day realized you have to bolster up things at linebacker. Two youngsters that Buckeye fans have been loving and talking about on Twitter, and if I talk about them on Locked On Buckeyes, they love it there as well. C.J. Hicks, and then also Sonny Styles. Those two young men, now I don't think they're going to get much playing time this year, but those two young men over the next 2 to 3 years, I do believe they'll be fan favorites, and they'll be people that Buckeye fans can see a trend being started of elite and really good linebacker play in Columbus once again.
Very good, Jay.
By the way, I think the linebacker thing, I agree with what all you guys are saying about it. I do think that's a bigger issue in football in general. The position's been devalued, and I think the best athletes are not going into the linebacker position anymore because kind of like at running back, we're seeing a lot more guys go to wide receiver. At younger years, I think the same thing's happening with linebacker. They're becoming safeties.
Yeah, but other teams have quality linebackers.
Yeah, but
they do.
I don't think ours stack up.
I agree, but I'm saying in general, we're not seeing as many great linebackers come out of college year after year in recent years. DeQuell Jackson mentioned that last week when we had him on too. The position's been especially the middle linebackers. They used to be such a premier position.
It used to be
now it's not.
It used to be the way you built your defense.
Yeah.
And I know that Ray Lewis's aren't falling out of trees, and I get that. But if you find a guy that's a tremendous athlete, you're going to find some of them that want to say, "I want to be Ray Lewis. I don't care to be a tight end or a fullback or whatever. I want to be that disruptive force on the defense," because, by the way, you can write your payday for a long time in the NFL.
And you can wreck a game plan like that.
Yes, you
A
can.
guy at middle linebacker will destroy you. You can't block him. He's running over your tackles. He's running through guards. He's too fast.
Ohio State's got a lot of play hard linebackers these days.
Yeah, that's not a good thing when you say they're play hard linebackers. Okay, Jay, hey, listen, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks, Jay.
Make sure you watch us tomorrow. Hopefully we break some news with Ryan Day. He's going to be on with us. What time is he on tomorrow?
He's at 12. Eric Metcalf at 12:30.
Okay, very good. So that's a nice second hour on tomorrow's show.
Okay.
So tomorrow we got Metcalf and Ryan Day, and
we'll let you know about that paintball thing too. We'll get to the bottom of that.
Yep, we
see
will.
How we fared.
I appreciate it.
We'll dig into it. Jay, thanks a lot. Keep up the great work. Again, Jay does a terrific job covering the Buckeyes. Locked On podcast. It's all Ohio State. He's got the inside slant on so many of the big stories that come out of there. You do a great job, Jay. Thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it as well.
And I think his beard is better than Ryan's got one of the best beards in coaching history.
Yeah.
But Jay's is on point, too.
That's solid. It really
God
is.
can
That's
give
like a Just for
everybody
Men
everything.
commercial beard. It is.
If he gave me that beard, I'm taking over the world. I at least got.
Oh, yeah. You'd be the mayor in no time.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. You've got a little patchiness coming in here, bro.
I know.
Just a little sloppy there.
This is.
Jay, we'll keep complimenting your beard off air.
I appreciate it. I'll keep watching as well.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
I don't know, this is so random, but I
Yeah.
think the greatest beard I've ever seen in my entire life is Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
I used to get distracted when I was doing segments with him. He would be done answering the questions, and I would just be like,
It looks like he just uses shoe polish.
Is that velvet?
It just like
you know
goes
what?
like
it's,
that.
It's the angles are so sharp.
Yeah, it's very distinct.
Like, I don't know if he's had laser surgery
No,
to remove all of the hair. That
I don't understand what people are doing
Are they
now with
filling it in?
with the little patch here, or just
Well,
like hair.
let-
Just
let
on
me-
the
let me-
chin.
Let me
Why
tell
are
you all
people
about
doing that?
black hair care. See, he got
Yeah.
that Beijing.
What's that?
That Beijing.
Can we say that?
Yes, it's not a slur. Okay. It's not. It's actual product, right?
Okay, good.
Like
Beijing.
It makes you to give them credit. You ever see some brothers, Jalen Rose?
Jalen's got the straight. It's like a geometry
Yeah,
project.
it's like
It is.
Listen, you get it. You line yourself up, and then they hit you with the spray.
Okay.
So they black spray it in, so it's more.
Yeah,
it's
I know what you mean.
filled, and then they get them.
What if
crispy.
Mike or I would've
LeBron
tried
tried
that?
that for a
Huh?
LeBron tried that for a hot minute.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah,
like
yeah.
in
I
the
think
mid
Rudy
2000s?
Giuliani tried that
And we're
once.
like, oh no, yep, he did.
to an epic fail.
That was real bad.
Hey man, how
Now
far?
wait a
how
minute. Why?
far?
What keeps it from running though?
Oh no! Don't get it twisted. Like you don't be moving around. They'll put you. It's some setting stuff.
It's like a waterproof
But, you know,
mascara.
I gotta tell you, I used to study it with Jerome.
And it's
I was
crisp, right?
fascinated by
Rather
it.
than listening to
And-
his
and,
answers
you know,
to
I used
things,
to
you're
ask
just
him
like,
about it. I'm
so
like,
do that.
bro, that's like you
Razor.
either have the best DNA in the history of mankind,
Yeah.
or he says, no, I just get it fresh cut right before I come in.
That's it.
He's got a pro person taking care of him and making
Yeah,
it
yeah.
like, you know.
See,
But it's like protractor.
It's
I mean,
levels.
it's beautiful.
Like if say for instance, right, if you go to the barber, right, if you go to the barber every 3 days,
That's how you stay fresh.
That's
like
how
that.
you say it look like you don't never.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going nowhere for 3 days. As you can see, I gotta get my joints lined up right now. But if you do it every 3 days, like them brothers doing, and you get your Beijing and you get your, it's crisp. Now here's the thing.
Is there ever a chance you would do that live on the show? I would like to see it done.
I get my hair cut live on the show. See if
We
you
could
get,
make that happen, G.
It's
Yeah,
like
we
an
make that
art.
happen.
I mean,
You are the barber.
Yeah, you get it. Listen, a black man with a fresh fade. Put it in the comment section. Hey, black man with a fresh fade. You ain't that. Like, you gain 3 points. You get 3 extra credit.
No kidding.
You get just like just like a tan white guy.
Exactly.
That's
I
worth
see.
1 point.
Yep.
Okay.
On the spectrum.
See, we're learning things here.
That's worth 1. Listen, then all of a sudden you get it together, you be like, man, that guy's
Yep.
all right out there. Yep.
You know, the problem with doing it once, though, is then you got to kind of keep it up.
Maintain
got
it.
to.
No, it's a
Yeah.
nice surprise though if you show up and you are not gross like once in a while. That's what I like to do is like go like just like dress like this forever and then one day I'm just gonna wear a suit in here and you guys are gonna be like, who the hell is that?
Sometimes you break out the tux for
That's
what's
worth
new.
5.
You know,
That's worth
so be
5.
good.
Mike,
You'll
you've
get it.
got a nice fade.
Thanks, I do this myself.
No, you don't.
I do. I use
Flubby?
wall clippers. They're sponsored
Oh, yeah.
by who's the handyman? Not Tim Taylor, but the other guy from Home Improvement, like the
The bearded guy.
Yeah.
They're sponsored by Al. He's on the package. I just go to town on myself now.
And you
again.
just
Hey,
droop
that's
right on the
nice.
side.
And it's faded up good.
You do the
Yeah,
top
thanks,
by
man.
yourself too?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of hair, so it's really not hard. I pretty much just like give myself a cop haircut and call it a day.
I
It's
go
like a cop haircut.
Yeah,
well
that's it.
done, though.
I don't have
Hey, I
anything
hate to
special
break
with my
up
hair,
this
but I go every few weeks.
riveting
See, look at that.
conversation
That's
about Mike's
beautiful.
hair.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
But we got to
that.
get to break.
Okay.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got to get to break. When we come back, though, it's Mike Polk taking us down memory lane.
Memory
on a way
lane. I'm
that
gonna take
I'm
you guys
looking
to
No one
forward to
knows
this,
what's coming
yes.
but Mike Polk.
I have
Literally,
no
no one
idea.
knows what's coming
No
but
clue.
Mike Polk. And then a top 5 list, and then final take. So we got one more
That
block
makes,
coming.
that makes a great show when only Mike knows.
We'll see.
Oh, he only knows.
All right, great. Well, find out with us together when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
We're here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost. You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing. I can see what Lobby gets in.
Other than that, he was fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's fun. All right, we're back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's time for Mike Polk to take us down memory lane.
That's
what are
right.
we doing here?
I hope all of you
This is gonna be
guys,
great.
by the way, this isn't just for me. I want you guys to take this segment and run with it too. Maybe you have had some fond Cleveland sports memories.
Oh, I've had a few.
Or from your childhood, whatnot, you know. And I know that I've had some. I thought today I would reflect upon some of my favorite players of all time on the Cleveland Browns. So first, let's take a look at our slate. This is my segment called Fond Cleveland Sports Memories. It almost fits. I made that myself. Imagine what it says underneath
Is that
there.
from Lakewood Park?
It is. I don't know. Yeah, that is.
That's my favorite Cleveland
That's
sign.
actually Edgewater, I believe.
Yes,
That's
it is.
Edgewater. Yes.
I love
okay.
that view.
So these are my fond Cleveland sports memories. Now, many people might be saying, all right, you can come back to me now. Many people might be saying, Mike, what's your favorite? Who's your favorite player of all time? When I was a kid, of course, I don't even use this one. Bernie Kosar. Let's take a look at this one. I'm not going to use Bernie. That's me and my dad and Bernie Kosar when we were
Is
kids.
he at your crib?
That's really him. No,
The red curtains make it feel that way.
so I'm not claiming Bernie as my favorite player, because if you grew up around the Cleveland area during my time, then that was just like your default favorite player. It's not even fun to pick Bernie as your favorite player.
By the way, your dad kind of looks like he could be one of the guys from that SNL segment, Duh, Bears.
He does.
Right?
He also looks like he could have been one of Bernie's offensive linemen in
True.
1988. So my favorite player at the time was not, it would have been too easy. My favorite player was, in fact, Ernest Biner. Let's take a look at Ernest Biner here. There he is.
Yeah.
That was my favorite player by
That's
far.
like right before the fumble.
Growing
isn't it?
up, yes. I could have picked a better picture now that you mention it, yeah. He probably doesn't want to see that one.
This might be the fumble.
That was my favorite player. He has, I will say, since been usurped, and my favorite player is now, let's take a look, Joe Thomas. You gotta love Joe Thomas.
Oh,
I know that he's on the show. Sometimes it sounds like a kiss-ass thing, but it's not. He's real. He's legit. Nobody speaks more to the struggle of the Browns and the resilience of the Browns fan base than that guy who stuck around here and never wore anything but a Cleveland Browns uniform.
Yeah.
The fact that he is 48 and 128 in his career.
Oh.
It's kind of rough having a favorite Brown that has that record.
I don't know.
But he gets us.
But he gets us, and I
doubt.
love Joe Thomas. And so that's my favorite player.
All right.
I did dabble briefly in between Ernest Biner and Joe Thomas with a favorite player. Let's take a look at the next one. It was Scott Player. Scott Player was a punter for the Browns in 2007. He was the last person to wear the mono bar helmet. He was grandfathered into it. They had already outlawed it, except for people who were already wearing it at the time.
He looks like a grandfather.
Grandfather was the proper term.
Sweet handlebar mustache.
He
You see her one
literally
year-
looks like the guy that won the contest. We're going to have, for today's game only, we're
Yeah.
going to pick a holder
Yes.
from the audience.
Yes.
Come on down. You won the competition.
Scott Player was a Pro Bowler one year, and he ruled, so he just looked awesome. And his name said Player on the back, like they ran out of jerseys. They were just like, just wear this. I loved it.
No, they should have just gone playa.
Yes, that would have been better.
That would have been epic.
He the only guy to get helmet to helmet hit. You got to go to jail.
Yeah, you do.
You the helmet to helmet, you done killed that boy.
I love that he stuck with that, though. So he was briefly my favorite player, but as I said, growing up, Ernest Biner, favorite player. Myself and my Aunt Karen, who's also a big Browns fan, she got me this jersey, I believe we have it, when I was a kid. That's me getting for Christmas.
Is that Bernie in the overalls there?
No,
Or
that's
in
my
the
Uncle Dan. He
suspenders?
just looks, all my family members look like Bernie
Wow.
Kosar.
Okay, kind of looks like Bernie.
But that's my dad with a Budweiser behind him, obviously.
That's Dan Fike in the background.
Yep, it is. So I got
wood paneling.
But I love the wood paneling.
that's my grandma's basement. Imagine my excitement getting that jersey
Oh,
of my
Cloud
favorite
Nine.
player when you're a kid. It's heaven on earth. Now, we used to go to training camp. My dad would take us to training camp, which is what a thrill for my sisters when they were like 10 years old, watching men push sleds in
When
the
it's
hot
100
sun.
degrees out.
Can you imagine? They were just like, can we please leave? And he's like, no. My dad's drinking a beer. We're like, can we at least have some popcorn or cotton candy? He's like, no, it's expensive. So we just sat there watching men exercise. What a thrill for children.
Losing weight.
We're like, can we go play in the grass? They're like, no, watch these grown men play in the grass. But that was back when that was back when you could like go up to them and just get autographs like crazy because there was not the protection that there is now. They got but back then they just like had to go to their car and you could like trap them and stuff. So here's me trying to get Ernest Biner's autograph with my jersey. All I wanted him to do was sign my jersey. And he went to cuter kids, ignored my jersey.
He's not even acknowledging
Not
you.
even
That's
seeing
you on the
me.
left, right?
I know, that's me on the.
He even has a
rocking the Griffey style hat.
He's putting a block up on me right there. Do you see that? Okay, so he turned me down. Now, little did he know that later on in life, I would actually get the opportunity to interview him because he had a book come out a couple of years ago that is called Everybody Fumbles. Which is the title that it should be, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's about him overcoming his adversity and carrying on.
Hell of
with
a
his
story.
life. So what he didn't know is that I would, I haven't seen him clearly since he turned me down that time. And so this is me showing him the picture of him turning me down for the autograph at the Happy Dog in Cleveland. That's me saying, hey, this is me as a child, and you proving to him that he turned me down. And luckily, I still had the jersey from when I was a kid. Take the next one. I made him sign it. Let's take a look at this one. There it is.
What a
so
guy.
Like 20 years later, he's, I don't know, probably more than that. He's signing my jersey finally. And so I did get that signed, which is a great memory.
You look like a kid in a candy store.
No, he was dead serious too.
It was. He was like, he was all about it.
Did he
felt
seem
bad.
remorseful?
He did. He didn't. I think he did feel a little bit bad, especially because he's on stage and I'm doing that. But he was fun. He was very good. Yeah. A lot of good fun at the Happy Dog. And this is me though. Last picture. This is me getting a picture of him holding my baby and me pretending to be nervous because of the fumble.
Did he find that funny?
He did not know what was going on at the time, and then I explained it to him. But this was my picture. I'm like, and I just go, this is all I want from you, Ernest. I just want a picture of you pretending to hold a baby and me looking nervous. And he's just like, I'll do it because he screwed me over on the autograph. And that is one of my favorite Cleveland Browns sports memories.
I don't know you can do any better than that right there.
It was amazing.
I really don't.
He was a very good sport. They hung out at the Happy Dog for a long time afterwards. He and his wife, who I think her name is Ernesta or something. It's like his name, but with an A.
Oh,
it's
wow,
just very strange.
okay.
And they closed that place down. They had a hotel downtown, and they got nasty with it. They were fun.
Was there any sense of humor to him about the fumble? Like, I mean, all these years later, can he chuckle, or is he still pretty uptight about it?
No, you know what it is? Think about this. He's been hearing about it everywhere he goes, every day of his life since that happened, pretty much. He's had so much time to get over it that he's just on autopilot now. He's like, you just got to take it one day at a time. You just got to try and keep getting better and move past adversity. It's like something that you can hear his psychiatrist put into his brain to repeat to himself as a mantra,
right,
so that he doesn't feel bad all the time. But it's working, and he worked through it in that book. And obviously, anybody who knows anything about football knows that that's not the entirety of his career, that he had a great career, that he actually had a great game.
Mike was only there to tie the game. They weren't winning or anything. They had to go.
It would have put them in, I think it was 38-33.
Regardless. It's one instance based on a great career. But.
Can we try to book Ernest Biner? I bet he would come on.
Done.
All right, let's get him on.
That'd be great.
It has to be a Tuesday or a Thursday when Mike's here.
Yeah, we gotta reconnect.
By the way, can we show that picture again of Mike being dismissed for the autograph? Because
my childhood picture.
He gave you the Heisman, bro.
He did too. He blocked me up like
really
nobody's
bad.
business. I know.
Yeah.
This is
Give us 1 sec. We'll get it.
Yeah, they're gonna work on it.
Completely out of left field, but I feel like the kid on the opposite side of you looks like the kid from the movie Bad Santa.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't even remember
that's really
that movie.
random.
Yeah, no.
It was a bad
You're
movie.
right. It might have been. We got a picture of him blowing me up
Like
from
the
the
blonde
distance.
kid.
Yeah, the blonde kid.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I mean,
I'm stretching a little.
That's
I'm
all right.
stretching.
Maybe.
Something about his face reminded me of the kid. Have you guys all seen Bad Santa?
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie. Did you like
great.
it? Oh, I thought it was terrible.
I'm one of them people that don't remember like movies like Susan Sarandon was in that. She played the one.
Did you like Bad Santa?
I did. I enjoyed Bad
Hilarious.
Santa. I mean, for what
then
it
they
was.
made a sequel and it was horrible.
Yes.
Maybe
I
that's
never
what
saw
I
Bad
remember.
Santa too.
Maybe that's what I remember.
Yeah.
One of them was
Right.
all-time bad.
Something about his face.
On that
I don't know.
picture, did that impact you as a child at all? in a negative way? Like,
no, not
geez,
that was
just.
I gotta tell you, I'm not. We're not gonna get into psychologically about our childhoods or anything like that. But Ernest Biner denying me an autograph was the least of my issues as a child.
You know what I want? So I love when you bring these special little things to the show. Can you maybe Thursday? Mike did a piece. It was hilarious, where we recreated with Bernie Kosar that picture that you saw in front of those horrific red curtains.
People do that reenactments. That was your idea. Actually.
Yeah, it was my idea.
And so
my dad, he's still around.
No, his dad. So we had Pops, Mike, and Bernie, and.
I don't know why I assumed your dad was dead.
I know, that was horrible.
He's out of here.
Yeah,
I know Mike.
You know how all
Sr.
dads are dead.
Yeah, that's right. I love Mike Sr.
No, he's interminable.
He's a great guy.
He got cancer, and even cancer was like, I'm out of here. So he's fine now. He's still like a giant.
Cancer's ass.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Does he still have a mustache?
No, I wish.
Yeah, he ditched that, huh?
I know.
Well, so we got to pull that piece.
Yeah, we'll use that.
I think
it's like 3 minutes long. It'll be fun.
Our viewers
People
will
like
enjoy it.
Bern will get a kick out.
It's really funny.
And Jay plays a role too.
I do have. Let me say, this is in Cameo. I see your Rocky T-shirt. In one of the Rocky movies, I had a role.
Show the Bernie
I actually was in, I think,
please.
Rocky 5, I think.
What?
Yeah. And it's a cameo.
This is
That's
coming
called
up randomly.
in the business.
In Rocky
it's called a
5,
cameo.
which one?
Yeah, the one where
worst
he came
one.
back. He was watching First Take, and
Right.
Skip was saying, he can't fight again. He's a bum.
No, I think it was Rocky Balboa.
It was Balboa. That was it. Yeah. So
right. It was the simulated game that you were referencing. Now I remember that. Yeah.
So there's like 3 scenes that we shot. It was a total hoot to do it. I still get these random checks, like royalties checks. Every time it's on TV, it's unbelievable.
You're just complaint.
No, listen, they're like $7.45, bro.
Yeah, I'd like $7.
But when it first came out, they were in the thousands. I'm like, wow.
This is what I want to point out. This
insane.
Bernie thing here. We did this reenactment. You see that shoulder in the side?
That shoulder is my cameo in that piece.
We have Jay play the role of the shoulder.
So that's what made me think of my cameo. I had a real cameo in Rocky.
I've always
my
wanted to
cameo
know.
in that.
Is that a Jerry curl? Bernie.
That was legit.
Was that legit? Was that just hang time? Because he had the same haircut as Webster Slaughter. But
yeah, he did.
But Webster's
Bernie had great flow.
Yeah,
I thought.
I was like that classifies as a Jerry curl.
But I think he had somebody do that. He must have gotten treatment for that.
Yeah, that's
or something
a Jerry
like that,
curl.
right?
His hair now is nowhere near that. It doesn't look anything like that.
No.
It's straight and short.
That's what Jerry curls do.
It's been 30 years. Yeah,
back in the day.
Transform your whole life.
His would look like a full-on perm. I mean, when he would take his helmet off, sometimes it would just keep going up.
It was
Did you get to meet Stallone, by the way, when you did that?
So I didn't get to meet him during the actual filming of the show, but the producers came, and we were kind of curious, like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And the producers told us, now I don't know if this is true or not, but the producers like, he really likes the show. He likes Skip, he likes Woody, and he likes the banter that you guys have back and forth.
It's cool.
And so we really were the impetus to his comeback, because we were doing a mythical topic on the debate show where I asked the question, could Rocky actually fight today? And Skip, as he does, just crapped all over that idea. and the one thing that I laughed about, we were always on from 10 till noon, and it replayed from noon to 2.
Right.
But the way Rocky sees it, he owns a restaurant in Philadelphia.
Sure,
I remember
and
it's in the evening, and we're on.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, so we were never on in the evening.
Well, first his son, you see his son, who's played by, what's that actor's name? He's on This Is Us, the main guy. Milo Ventimiglia, whatever.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Who's played his son the whole time.
Right,
from a little kid up. Sees they're in a sports bar also at night.
Yes, and they say same thing. So Rocky's like, and he's like 50.
Yeah.
Maybe I could. And then, he goes into the meat cooler in the restaurant and he starts pounding the side of beef, and the next thing you know, the theme is playing and he's back in the ring.
I'm going to be freaked out. I didn't know you when I watched that movie, so now I'm going to watch
Rewatch it.
And I'm going to hear your voice.
Yeah.
I just watched it recently. I love everything Rocky.
We got to do
I like the Creed movies. I love them all.
Random checks that Jay keep getting.
Yeah.
dumb things, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Just checks just show up.
By the way,
I get an ad for Crystal Pepsi in the 90s.
By the way, if you're a big Stallone fan, he's got a new TV show coming out.
Does he?
This fall. It's called like Kansas City or something. He plays like a mobster.
Why can't
He's played everything else, so why not?
Why can't people settle down? Why can't people be rich and just settle down and relax?
I want to see Stallone as a mobster.
I want to see it too, but can you imagine still wanting, at this age, and how much money he has and how much success he's had, just being like, thinking about getting into television? Why?
I know, because he's
Go
not
relax.
But you know
Yeah,
what? When you
I hear
look
you.
at him, it's kind of sad.
It
Because
is.
He's gone.
Oh
His
my,
face
so
has gone
much.
under the knife
But
so
yes.
many times.
It's bad.
I
doesn't
actually
even
watched
resemble
the
the old
most
guy.
recent
Unkillables
Rambo
or whatever?
movie.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't even know it had come out like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Where he's like has these underground tunnels at his farm. And
Yes.
It was
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
terrible, but I watched it anyway.
Guys,
Yeah.
here's the
So would I.
the law of this show is we have one sponsor so far.
Yeah.
Although I'm told we've got them lining up now, so that's
yeah.
going to change soon. Why wouldn't they be lining up with quality entertainment?
What is
like
this?
this?
Is that like a LASIK
But that's
place or
Roundstone.
something?
That is our sponsor right now.
Oh, good.
And
What
so,
do they
Mikey,
do?
we
Top
have
five.
to do the sponsored content.
We do, and you guys just missed a moment of panic back here. Anthony's the guy who changes that, and he's not here today. We got
Whoa.
Brianna sitting in here, so I had to make a panic call to Anthony. Shout out Anthony for knowing how to change it from
yeah.
home. And we got Roundstone up. So in case you guys don't know, the Ultimate 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable, quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%. Yeah, 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great healthcare benefits that your employees will love and save money, too. So shout out Anthony for saving
Peace.
us. Yeah. And let's do an Ultimate
And we
5
love our
list, guys.
sponsor. We love our sponsor.
Roundstone.
Absolutely.
Hey, you get the chant. You didn't get the chant going, Bull. Roundstone.
Roundstone. Roundstone. Roundstone.
What other sponsor gets a chant?
No.
Absolutely.
When you only have one, you treat them like
I'm
you only have
uninsured.
one.
We got more coming this week. So
I know
today
we
might
do.
be the last day they are a lone sponsor.
Well,
But
we
don't-
love
hey,
that.
For the people out there that are worried it's going to change the show, it ain't
No.
changing a darn thing.
No.
We're going to
Not
do our
worried.
thing. We're going to do our thing.
Still
So what's
gonna
our top
produce on
5
the
today?
air and
Yeah. Before I forget, one more quick thing. I think you know how what's the thing called where you can sponsor college athletes now?
NIL.
I think we should sponsor a Cleveland State badminton player or something
That's
like
a
that.
great idea.
Or
That's
have them
dope.
be a representative of the show. Give them like $200. They have to do ads for us and stuff like
That's
that.
a great idea.
Like get somebody who's,
NIL deal.
get somebody from like the fencing team.
Okay, first of all, can you
something like
imagine when we place the call to one of the fencers?
Hi, we're the
and be
Ultimate
like,
Cleveland
Hi,
Sports Show."
we're the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'd like to sponsor you. We'd like
Yep.
to pay you.
Yeah.
They'll hang up.
Oh yeah, but somebody will eventually be like, all right.
Yeah.
Mikey,
we'll
we
do.
have to put that on our
Can we
to-do
get that?
list.
Executive producer Steve is on it.
All right,
right,
cool.
Don't
That's
worry.
great. Fantastic.
Good idea.
And you know what? You have a knack of producing these
Sure.
things to make it look like a 70s documentary. I don't know what skill set that is, but
It's
the
not,
music and the
it's not
shooting.
it's not updating my creativity. But yeah.
Can you do that with this?
Sure, yeah, we'll
Cleveland
get it
State
together.
athlete?
We'll-
Hi, my name is Tim Smith. I'm a fencer.
I'm not sure
at
how I
Cleveland
got
State.
this, but I'm now
I love
the
this
sponsored
show.
athlete of Ultimate Cleveland Sport. And
It's a great idea.
It's a,
Oh, that's a hoot. What do we got? Top 5.
So I had an entire plan today to make this a super detailed top 5, but we had some chaos with no internet earlier today and stuff. So
I heard.
Kind of watered down.
Excuses,
I
excuses.
No
apologize.
excuses. You sound like Baker Mayfield.
Good
Come on,
Lord.
let's get the list.
This is the 5 best time zones to watch sports in.
What?
oh man.
There's
Number
only
5.
What?
Hawaii time. Have you ever been in Hawaii and tried to watch sports?
Yes, I have.
It's terrible. The games are done by 1 o'clock. It's lunchtime only, and you cannot plan any night around a sporting event. It does not exist. That is the worst.
Well, the
time
only
to
good
watch.
thing is like Monday Night Football is like 3 in the afternoon.
Wait a
like
second.
1 o'clock.
Wait a second. Hold
Are
on.
they 7 hours behind? Yeah.
This
I thought they were
list-
5. Okay.
This list is the best time zones.
Yeah,
well, there's
Hawaii's
only
the worst.
We only have 4.
There's 5. if you
It
count
doesn't
Hawaii.
say best time zones in the United States.
By the way, I want to say this. Shout out to the Hawaii's Browns backers.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I will be wearing a Browns backer for Hawaii shirt tomorrow.
Wow.
No kidding.
Shout out to them. Them my
And
people
Did you get
out
an
there.
NIL deal?
And I love.
You trying to get an invite to Hawaii?
I was
aren't you?
watching Monday
Pro
Night
Bowl.
Football in the pool on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's pretty. That's
Is
pretty
there a
cool.
more entitled complaint than complaining that that sports are hard to watch in Hawaii?
Yeah, that's
We're like,
right.
yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know
want
what
to
right.
time
sorry
it
for you.
is.
All right, I think they're going to probably get better as we move east. But what's number 4 on your list?
number 4 is the Eastern time zone.
Oh.
Games start way too late here. After living in Texas for 3 years, these 9 o'clock, 9:30 tips, the national championship tipped at 9:43 Eastern time on a Monday. That's atrocious.
Yeah, I've always
Mike,
hated that.
You're 28 years old and you grew up in New Jersey. I mean, what? There's not
like-
much of an adjustment here.
I'm
It's not like you're
know what it
50
is?
and have a
So-
wife and kid.
Well, but to your point, when my son lived in San Diego, he
Yeah.
used to say the same thing. He's like, what is going on with you guys in the East Coast and these late starts? But he grew up watching it that way his
Yeah.
whole life. But after he moved to California, he's like, this is unbelievable.
But why would you
that
put
game starts at
Hawaii
6:30?
last and then say the East Coast is
not a
because
perfect
the
system.
games are on at lunchtime in Hawaii. I'd rather plan my night around it than have to watch it while I'm trying to work. And also, Bull, I got to wake up at 6 o'clock to get all your graphics in, so I can't stay up till 1 in the morning to watch the games like you. You just walk in here and talk. I got to produce everything beforehand.
He never stops. He works 28 hours every day.
He can do 29. Start working 29.
Suck it up. Suck it up, stay up later.
Mikey, what's number 3?
Number 3, Pacific time zone. I think 1 and 2 are the real debate here. Pacific time zone, good, not great.
Yeah, I'm not nuts about, like, getting up at 9.
Yeah.
And then you're watching NFL games until, I guess it would be 4.
I have a personal trauma with this because I worked out of Los Angeles for a long time and had to watch games out there starting at 10 o'clock. Watch Browns games at Browns backers
Hard
bars
to tailgate.
during the worst of the Browns. I mean, I'm talking, I'm out there during the Deshaun Kaiser days and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you're there with a bunch of other miserable people from like Euclid, because nobody just becomes a Browns fan. They're all from Cleveland. Nobody's just like, hey, I think I'll pick up the Browns.
Let me sign up for this.
Well, older people are because they were on TV in the 60s.
Yeah, but younger
they're,
folks.
and they're not at the bar called the Chimney Sweep with me at 10 a.m. though. Those people are at their places. And so we watch terrible football super early, and then you watch your team lose, and then you're drunk. You leave the place at like 12:30 p.m. on a Sunday. You're hammered. It's bright out, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with the rest of my day?
Yeah.
I'm already drunk. I can't just go to bed. It's too early. So what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? So it was just terrible. And you're sad and mad and stuff. I'd rather have it. I don't want to watch them that early.
Yeah, I think it's way too early too.
That's why it's 3.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Number 2, mountain time.
Mountain's the word. Who even knows about it? Who spends any time in the mountain?
What are there, like 2 states on mountain time?
No, it's the whole, kind of Midwest.
Idaho,
Not Midwest.
Montana,
Is it Colorado?
It's all these useless states. Like in the...
Yeah.
They don't even watch sports out there.
No.
Except for Colorado.
This isn't a question of how many people watch sports in each time zone. I'd just rather be able to watch a football game that starts a Sunday night that starts at 6:20 and is done by 10 o'clock.
I still vote for Hawaii.
Done at midnight.
By the way, in Arizona, they don't change the clocks.
No, that was a caveat. I almost put Arizona as that 5th time zone because they
Mountain time's just weird, though. It's always a mess when you find out something's starting at mountain time. You're like, I got to do math
I don't think anything starts at mountain time.
No.
Like,
nothing's programmed for mountain time. It's all Eastern and Pacific.
But they're like,
you're right.
This is where it's going to be, mountain time.
Yeah. Well, soon none of us are going to put the clocks back. We're going to stay on daylight savings time or standard time.
All right.
Yeah.
We're in standard time now, right?
We are, and Congress has been. When do you have universal support for anything?
Nothing.
That they're universally supporting this idea.
Out of all the bills in the world, Congress, let's get on this daylight savings thing.
Let's cut that out.
We may make sure this is together.
Because that's what's holding this country back.
Clowns.
All right, and your number one is
number one is
obviously
Central Time. I'm biased. I lived in Texas for 3.5 years, but this was the prime time to watch sports. Games ended early enough that it wasn't super late. They started at a reasonable time, and college football at noon is perfect.
Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah, but there's 11 a.m. games because there's noon games.
Yeah, there's some.
It depends. A&M always kicked off at noon Central Time.
But you know what? Usually it's the cheesy ESPN 7 game, like Northwestern and Nebraska. They come at noon. You're like, who's watching that? Who's watching that?
The primetime games are 7 instead of 8:30, though. So it gives you that extra buffer hour to have a game, finish, and then go get drunk after. It gives you that
I feel very blah about that list. I
told you it wasn't my best. I admitted from the get-go.
I think it was the lamest top 5 list.
You did fine, Mikey. It's nice that you tried. But the one other thing that sucks. Can we all agree the London game sucks? Especially you wake up in LA and the London game's going on at like 4 a.m. 2 days ago.
Yeah, you wake. First of all, you forget that it's today.
Yeah.
And then you look at your phone to set your fantasy lineup, and you're like, oh my God, my fantasy tight end is in the third quarter.
And it's
I like it because I like another window of football. I can't get enough NFL.
See, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Really? Because
I dig it.
They have hijacked my Sundays. It starts at noon because you got to watch the pregame show. It starts at noon. And it ends at midnight. Guys, that's 12 hours of a day.
You better get ready. We're going to start the fantasy football league here. You got to be prepared.
Sound like going to church. You hijacked the whole day.
By the way, when I was at a hotel in Chicago the Sunday of Game 5 of the World Series. I was going to the game at Wrigley Field between obviously the Indians and the Cubs.
I was there.
Let's not talk about it.
She just said hi.
And the Bengals were playing in England that morning. So I watched it in the hotel room that morning. They started,
and it always was the Bengals versus Jacksonville back in the day.
I think it was a really good game. I think it was, if I remember, it was the Bengals-Eagles that year. And I think it was like 37-34. It was a really good game.
Doesn't Jacksonville play in London
Every
like
year.
7 times?
They should be there. It's like the Siberia of the NFL. They're like, if you're terrible, they send you out
need a
there.
game. We need a game. It's in
You're
London.
going out to London.
Make Jacksonville make that.
Your
It's
next
like the
2
kid
weeks
you
are
always
screwed
make
up.
play right field in Little League.
Yes. And it's always a Jacksonville home game because what's the difference?
Yeah,
no one
right.
goes to the games in Jacksonville anyhow. Final
Big news.
Yes.
We just got our second official sponsor. Starts tomorrow.
You got to love
Yeah.
They want G. Bush, by the way. This is going to be their sponsoring What the Internet Says.
Oh, good.
Oh, look at that.
What's the
There you
company?
We're allowed to say it.
PCC Airfoils.
I love airfoils.
We're going to learn all about them.
Those are my favorite foils. Those ones. Those airfoils.
I've always said if you're going to go airfoil, you
Gotta
go
go PCG.
PCC, yeah.
PCC,
Of course,
got
number
to.
one.
Number 1 in airfoils.
Yep.
We're going to find out all about them.
We got one more
Thank
break.
you for your service.
And then we're
we
going to do
got
final
final
takes.
take.
Okay, one more
do it.
break and then final takes. And then we'll kiss this Tuesday show goodbye and we'll get ready for a big Ryan Day show tomorrow. Coming right back after this. Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life.
When you watch Front Row, you never have to ask what's going on in Cleveland.
It is our job to get you up to speed on the latest news and events so you can enjoy all our city has to offer. We are bright, bold, and all about the action.
Whether you're a diehard Browns fan, waiting on breaking news, or searching for a special event for a weekend away.
Our hometown has it all. So join us. We're waiting for you. Front Row, weeknights at 7.
Seeing, knowing, and understanding Northeast Ohio is something we take very seriously.
Because in our connected world, what happens in one community can have an impact on others,
Leading to difficult challenges and opportunities for reflection and growth.
So, for in-depth analysis of how today's top stories affect you, your family, and our communities across Northeast Ohio,
Join us for 3 News at 6.
so you know what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajay Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
All right, there it is. We're officially into overtime, by the way. It's 1 o'clock. Final take time. Bull, you lost 13 pounds. I think you should go first.
Yeah, thank you. We are in the golden age of television, and I love it. How could you not love it? We are so. I think about the TV shows that I watched as a kid. When I didn't have cable till I was, I don't know, 20, 22, maybe 25. I don't remember. We had like 5 channels. Sometimes you'd go to the ultra high frequency channel 49 and watch wrestling from Mexico or
Channel
something.
43 here.
Right, whatever.
Yeah.
43 here. Television when we were like, I think about some of the shows I watched, and now those are all awful. It was awful. Now TV is so great. It's like even shows I never heard of. I just started watching this show called The Wilds on Amazon. Has anybody watched that?
Nope.
Has anybody watched Yellow Jackets on Showtime?
Yeah, I like that.
No.
Okay, Yellow Jackets. See it? Yellow Jackets was great, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay?
I enjoyed it.
The Wilds is like Yellow Jackets, a bunch of girls, high school girls, get stranded in the mountains. They were whatever. This
Somewhere
is,
in Canada, leads to cannibalism.
yeah,
Real hot,
exactly.
hot show.
It is very sexy.
Yeah.
This is a bunch of women getting stranded on a desert island.
Wow, seems like you have a theme.
Exactly. But it's a very different show beyond that initial premises. Premise or premises?
That's fine.
Premise, I think. Anyway, I think sometimes we get so like, there's nothing to watch. Or if you have nothing to watch, it's on you. And all the good shows are on HBO, Showtime, Netflix, Amazon. They're not the traditional shows on the networks in a lot of cases. Now I'm like, should I be saying this? Is this a great idea?
You're all right.
Go ahead. We're streaming, bro.
Are not great, right? Like, it's coming to an end for This Is Us. It's the last network TV show that I watch, right? Tonight is the final episode of This Is Us. And I am like literally hate the show now. It's terrible. But I feel like I've watched it for 6 years. I got to go to the finish line.
Yeah.
But I am never going to watch, no offense, to a network TV show again. There's nothing else good on network TV in terms of that type of programming. Everything on the premium channels is great. Not everything. But there is so much great content out there.
It's almost exhausting. It really is.
It really is.
I don't know how you guys keep up.
But This Is Us is the end of an era
it's like
of network TV.
It's
for
like
me.
how much, you do. It's overwhelming. How much time
I
am
have
I
a
wasting?
spreadsheet.
Do you
I'm
really?
going to show you this.
I'm not lying. I
Yeah.
probably watch
4
hours of TV a week that aren't sports.
Okay.
How do you guys find the time to
Look at
watch these
here's my
shows?
spreadsheet.
He really does have
Look
a
at this.
spreadsheet.
This guy.
I got when shows are coming back on.
Got the time
I
travel's
got new
wife on there.
shows.
How many hours a week of
Cobra
TV do you
Kai.
watch, Bull?
Too many.
Yeah.
About.
Right now, I'm watching less.
Are we talking 10, 20?
Besides sports?
Yes.
Yes. Not right now. Since we started the show, less.
Yeah.
And especially because I'm doing this and Little League.
Right.
But before I started doing the show, yeah.
I don't know how you guys find the time.
We do it.
Do you watch a lot of television?
No, I don't watch. I've already watched any TV. All of my viewing habits, but I do watch a ton of like YouTube documentaries and shows.
At the moment, I'm watching
countless hours.
We Own the City on HBO, Better Call Saul, This Is Us, Tehran is a good show.
We're going to
on
talk
Apple
Better Call
TV.
Saul after this.
That's a spin-off.
I haven't
right,
watched last night's
Breaking Bad.
episode. Did you watch it yet?
I did.
Okay, I haven't watched it yet.
It's very shocking.
Mike, you're with Adam here. You probably watch 10, 20,
I don't, I
hours
don't watch a ton, but when I have it on in the background a lot when I'm like doing stuff or walking around. You know what I mean? So I'll do that.
That's not like watching. That's just
No, I'm not really locked in
companion.
all that much, but I do. I watch a considerable amount.
Walking Dead? You watch Walking Dead or you
not
gave it up?
anymore. I used to. Same deal. Like where it was for a while.
You know
and
when
then
I
I'm like,
fall out at the end of it? Like I watched Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I was really into it.
Until the kids got ugly.
No, until I've seen them
May
now.
27th,
No,
right there.
But here's the deal:
Yeah.
until the first season ended, and then it
you're
goes
done.
into mothballs for like 9 months.
Right.
I'm out. I can't even
longer
remember
now.
what the hell
That
happened.
was the one thing about network TV, right? It would end in May and it would come back in September, so there
Yeah,
wouldn't be a
so you
long
just were
layoff.
gone for a summer.
But we have no patience for it because we want to binge watch it all now.
Well, yeah, I guess, but like when you binge watch it, now you got to wait like damn near a year. Mm-hmm. I don't have that.
Forget
kind of
everything. You got to
memory,
rewatch it.
Time. I don't have the time.
I watch
for it,
like
number
a
one.
recap, a YouTube 10-minute
Well,
recap.
the good news
of
is
the
it's
show.
not mandatory for you to watch any of these things, Jay.
No,
and
it's
no one's
not.
judging you or holding it
You know
against
what
you.
I've done?
No, I hope not.
I've changed it. I've changed my ending final comments.
Okay, great.
Yeah, look, forget Kelly Island and
Go
another
ahead.
one.
Oh, he's calling an audible.
Listen, Red 22.
That always works well.
Yeah.
What
long
we
as
talk
it's not
about?
Red Right 88.
I'm gonna tell you why people be mad at some of these shows, man. You know, I used to be just like Boo. I used to be one of the guys that watched so many of these shows, man. I was a huge fan of Lost. Lost to me was one of the greatest of all time, right?
Then you should watch The Wild.
Yeah, I was huge into the Game of Thrones. Listen, they even had me reading books. I was reading the books. I was going, now this is crazy.
Whoa.
Here's the problem. When you have these shows that are great, like Jay said, they're great for 5.5 seasons. They may be great for 6 seasons. But come to that season finale, the writers just go back and retcon everything and destroy everything the premise of the show was made on. Don't have Daenerys Targaryen turn into...
Here we go. This sounds deeply personal.
They ruined it.
Listen, please, Jacob. Why does Jacob not let the man in black off the island? He just wants to leave.
He just wants to
let
go.
that man go.
Let him
Like
leave.
Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Let him go. You know what I'm saying? Let him be gone.
Right.
I don't understand it. What happens, these shows be great for 9 seasons, then guess what? You look around.
That's too many, G.
Yeah.
6 seasons, you be good. I just watched a little a series called The Dome. Or Underneath the Dome, or one of those.
All right.
Oh, gosh. The last season turned into CGI. The last season of Family Matters, people don't remember Urkel had a time machine.
I remember.
You gave Urkel a time machine. Come on, bro.
Getting desperate.
They kept doing Happy Days without Richie Cunningham.
I know.
That's terrible. Look,
people, they'll ride it until it dies or until the contracts of the main actors.
That's why Breaking Bad and The Wire are the two best shows. They knew when to end it. It was great. Sopranos went too long and had that terrible season where he was in a coma and the Johnny Cakes and all that.
It's never going to make the fans totally happy, however you
Yeah.
wrap something up. And I think what happened with like Game of Thrones and some of those shows, especially with the internet now, is the writers start listening and hearing like the fans, and they're just like, "What? They don't like this? I guess we'll fix it." They start caring too much and playing too much fan service to fans, and they ignore the narrative that helped them get there. Exactly. And it's like trying to coach based upon listening to sports talk radio and be like, "Oh, I guess we're going to get rid of Baker right now," like you guys said. Okay, here's my final thought, you guys, real quick. It's something again that I saw yesterday that I have to amend this, and I hate that you guys keep making me do this. You guys talked about the toughest Cleveland sports athletes, and for some reason, you guys forgot to mention Bob Feller. What? Bob Feller, born in 1918, grew up during the Great Depression. He pitched one time. He threw a pitch to his dad, broke 3 of his ribs. He was 8 years old. That's a real story.
True story?
It was on the internet.
Well,
now,
there you go.
Internet
now, 17 years old, he starts pitching, and then he pitches for 4 years excellently against grown men, and then he has to stop for a little bit because of a little thing called Hitler. Stops, goes to World War II.
He enlisted like December 8th, I think.
Yes, the day it was announced after Pearl Harbor.
Yes, he went down
and enlisted, went down there and said, "I'm done playing baseball. I'm going to send me over there." They tried to make him like a baseball player in World War II. Like, "Oh, you can just like coach some teams and stuff like that." He's like, "I want to go into war.
I want to fly planes."
So they sent him. Yeah. So then he goes over there and he actually got like 8 medals of valor and stuff. Comes back. He pitched. Listen to this. How many complete games did he pitch? He pitched 44 shutouts, 279 complete games.
Absurd, yeah.
It's insane.
That was a bad miss by us.
It's insane. The guy would
279 complete games.
And
of course, that's what they did back then.
And the person that made him that would be the most mad if he heard you guys not mention him is Bob Feller. He's probably spinning his grave because he knew how tough he was. I met the man one time. It was the most intimidating experience of my life because he saw right through me and saw that I was not a real man.
He saw you were weak.
He saw I was weak and he saw it. I saw him eye me up and he was right too. Like I had like a big pretzel. I was at an Indians game at the time and I was like, "Mr. Feller, big fan." He's like, he's like just shamed.
Well, he was,
and I was like, "Oh!" Went through my whole
later
body.
Years, he was a bitter guy.
And he knew that. Yeah. So, anyways, that is one of the manliest people I've ever met. And he who else just leaves, goes, kills a bunch of Nazis, and comes back and then pitches another like a doubleheader by himself.
Picked up right where he left off and missed the prime years of his career.
Yep.
Right.
And still
and
damn
there
near
were
won
other
300
players
games.
at that time who did that as well.
Yes.
And still almost won 300.
And smoked 3 packs of Lucky Strikes.
Yeah, that's the way they rolled.
No doubt.
So, to your Bob Feller's a curmudgeon story, you know Bubba the Love Sponge from radio. He used to be on Howard Stern's channel. He's a big guy down in Florida. He's about 350 pounds. We were playing in a MLB alumni celebrity all-star game. Bob Feller was in it, and he used to take these things seriously. He would always pitch the first inning to show folks that he could still do it.
Sure.
He still had the high leg kick. He's in his 70s. We're all standing around before the game talking around home plate, and Bubba's back is to Bob Feller, and I'm looking at Bubba, and I see Bob Feller in the background staring at Bubba. And all of a sudden, he just uncorks one and hits Bubba with a baseball. Not hard.
Right.
And Bubba's like, what just happened? And I said, I think Bob Feller just hit you with a baseball. and stand by, he's coming over here. Now, Bubba wasn't a huge baseball fan. He's like, "Who the hell's Bob Feller?" And I'm like,
dude, don't let him hear you say that.
Pay reverence, okay?
Yeah.
Like, the dude's one of the all-time greats.
Right.
So Bob comes over and he goes, "What the hell is this?" And he points to his jersey, which was untucked.
Wow.
And Bubba goes, "Like, I'm 3.5 bills, man. I can't tuck this in. I'll look like a bowling ball." And he goes, "You're disrespecting every former major leaguer on this field right now. Tuck in that damn uniform." And he wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
And he just stormed off.
He's got a necklace with a bunch of Nazi teeth on it around his neck.
800 kills in World War II.
Oh, my God.
Like, I mean, he was dead serious.
crazy.
There was no joke to his voice.
Yeah.
He was dead serious about this. And when he left, Bubba looked at me, he goes, "What the hell's that guy's problem?"
He was born in 1918.
And so then I kind of filled it in on who he is and why he matters. So, but Bob, I loved Bob.
Yeah.
He could be a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
But you're right. We swung and missed on that one.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for. Pick up the.
Yeah, I'm glad you do. My final take, I touched on this at the beginning of the show. HBO tonight, be very careful when you're viewing this. They're going to interview 2 of the women who have made allegations against Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying don't believe the women. In fact, you can judge whether or not the women are believable or not. I think we all will. My caveat here is just to be careful making up your mind when you have one side of the facts, when you have one side of the story. There's the court of public opinion, which is often played out in the media, and then there's the court that we all look to for real justice. And that's where there's a set of laws and there are practices. You hear the prosecution and you hear the defense. There will be things on both sides that make you ponder, did he do this or not? Just don't make a hard, fast decision on one side of the story. Not just the women, but when Deshaun Watson's lawyer released the document last April that discredited a lot of the women, I read it with a cocked eyebrow and just said, why are there only 12 women mentioned in this? What about the other 10 who have accused that they're not discrediting? That leads me to believe that they must be trustworthy. Their stories must be at least somewhat credible. So let's just wait. Don't start tweeting as soon as the show is over that he's innocent. Or don't start tweeting right after the show that he's guilty. Let the real courts decide. Let those that see all the facts decide. Until then, the smartest thing to say on this is, I don't know what happened. Because very few of us do. I think just he knows and the women know.
That's it.
It's true. But hey, and I think the message there is buy TAA airfoil parts.
No, it's PCC.
PCC airfoil
yeah,
parts.
Already you're forgetting our sponsors'
It's
name.
all right. I won't forget them again. I never
Roundstone
forget.
Insurance, too.
Yep, and Roundstone Insurance.
PCC, some of the best companies you'll ever
Best
find.
companies that out there. I'm so thrilled. But yeah, good point, Jay.
All right. Guys, thanks for your thoughts today. Thanks for your time. We did 14 minutes of overtime. Mikey,
You're welcome.
thank you for all your work back there behind the glass. Tomorrow's a fun show. He ran like a deer. He was one of my favorite players to watch.
So fun to watch.
Eric Metcalf. And also Ryan Day of Ohio State fame will join the program. He's on at 12, and I think Eric Metcalf is on at 12:30. So until then, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Go Guardians. Congratulations
Adam
to
the
Bull.
Bull,
He's lost
1-3.
13 pounds in 1 week.
Where is he?
Well, I'm still fat, but all right.
Still.
You can hardly
fat
see
than last
him.
week.
Uh-huh.
See you tomorrow,
Bye,
Cleveland.
guys. Good siren work.
Hey, well, that